Hello, my Teaserking family. I was just waiting for my coffee to finish up. So how's everybody today? Hope you're well. Let's review college basketball. We did hit our 5-star. Fairleigh Dickinson getting 15. How they were getting 15, I don't understand. But let us look at what happened there. And let's review the bracket for now. We won't go through the lines yet. We'll go through them maybe tomorrow. Games aren't until Thursday. So let us see. Let's see. All right, so scores yesterday. Please let me know. I think my chat's working again. I actually got a comment. I made a comment about something to do with COVID, and they didn't like it. They said, you can't go against the WHO, World Health Organization. So being professional, I said, oh, my bad. Even though I really think that it's, freedom of speech. I should be able to say whatever I want, but I'm not going to go there. I don't really say much about the World Health Organization and COVID and all that anyway. So I will avoid that topic just because I want to be able to do this. So this is where you get into free speech problems. You think you can say whatever you want. It's your video on YouTube, but you can't. So, okay. It's funny as much as I swear they're not, the problem is that, you swore. You said something negative against the WHO. So we won't go there anymore, and no need to. You know how I think. All right, let's go to college basketball yesterday. So we've got Xavier beating Pitt 84-73. I had the game over 145. First winner. I get 157. And that was one of the more higher scoring ones. I'm seeing the scores are coming down a little bit. Then we get Kansas State, Kentucky. I like Kansas State, but I went with over 142, and I got 144. I didn't think I was going to get it. It was like 130 with like a minute left in the game, and then it was free throws. And before I knew it, I'm at 144, and I got a W. So I thought that was a loser. Not surprised Kansas State won. Surprised the 7 seeds favored over the 3 seed. There's a reason Kentucky's not that good this year, so that's what really you need to see. Let's see. Then we get down to Michigan State over Marquette. What happened here? I'm actually shocked. Michigan State is 19-12. They're not a good team, and Marquette is 28-6. Now, as I warned Nick, they look good against Xavier, but they're not always going to play Xavier, so they won't always look as good as we get in football, except for maybe Mahomes and Burrow. They can handle anybody. But Michigan State's more of a defensive team, and maybe that's why they didn't in the Big Ten, but here they went. So anyway, very shocking game. I had Marquette -2.5. I think I had that as a 5-star, so I lost. Sorry for that. But I'm really laying 2.5. I don't know how Marquette didn't win this game. So 69-60 Michigan State. And then we'll get into the next round in a minute. Connecticut blows out St. Mary's 70-55. I have under 126, which I win by 125. Amazing. 125. I had under 126. So there's a W. I got lucky on. You never know what happens. Bobby Bowe. I'm fine. I missed you. I wasn't getting any chats, and I didn't know if YouTube had done something or what. And I was like, where are you, Nick? All the guys. And it was like, is it working? So I'm fine. I got a warning about not saying negative COVID things and not going against the World Health Organization. So, strike one, and it's just a warning. And I'm like, who knows this stuff? And with all the stuff I say, I can't. That's what they get me on. So I'm like, fine. So I'm fine. How are you? How's the diet? How's your digestive? How's everything? So I don't know if you've been picking up. I've been giving basketball lines, and pretty good. Pretty good this weekend. So I hit Connecticut St. Mary's under. Creighton, Baylor, what do I got here? Baylor, I probably had, I had Baylor getting 1.5 as a 5-star. I had 3 5-stars, I guess. Marquette, Baylor, and Florida, and Fairleigh Dickinson. I win the Fairleigh Dickinson one, of course. Baylor, kind of shocked that they got killed 85-76. It's a 151. It does go over. I circle over, but I play Baylor. So Creighton wins. Okay, they're a pretty good team, obviously. Baylor, not as good. About what I thought. I didn't think they were all that good either. And then Florida Atlantic, 78. Fairleigh Dickinson, 70. Fairleigh Dickinson plus the 15 was my 5-star. No way a Florida Atlantic is going to beat a Fairleigh Dickinson by 15.5 after Fairleigh Dickinson beats Purdue. Right? It's not going to happen. Not on the same weekend. Now, if they played next week, yes, Tennessee would murder them, and Tennessee's going to murder Florida Atlantic, but that's what you have. I was doing fine, but then, to be honest, drank a bit too much this weekend. Maybe time to take a break. Well, I don't know what there's something you take with it, right? So if you drink a lot, I don't know what maybe it's lemons or lemon water or something where it should neutralize it so you don't get as sick with it. Now on our diet, you just go back to, okay, I eat dinner at 7 o'clock or in your case, 4 o'clock. And, you go back to your 18 hours, cleans your system out. That's the beauty of the system. You want to eat a chocolate cake, you want to have a chocolate ice cream, it's fine once, right? Have it on Sunday, it's fine. Monday, you're back on eating healthy. Even the doctor, he did 10 days of eating American, which was yogurt, muffins, beer, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, all that shit. He put on a bunch of weight and got really sick eating it for 10 days. So if you eat it all the time, that's why we're all dying from diabetes. Anyway, so with the 18 hours, get all the alcohol, not in one day, but in probably 2 or 3. That's the whole idea of it. So you got the guy inside you, he's cleaning you. So you put in some alcohol. So it takes maybe a day or 2 to get through your system. You pee it all out. And you've taken in a lot of sugar is what you've done, right? Alcohol is all sugar. So you've got now this sugar in your cells. So your nice, beautiful, clean cells that you got with your 18-hour fastings and your 24-hour fastings, you've now infected with the sugar from the alcohol. So now your body will go back in and clean out all the cells, all the sugar in it. That's what it does. So it cleans you. I believe you get new cells it's either 60 or 90 days. Let's say 90 days. So your cells get old, die, but they get replaced by new ones. So you want to keep them. So that's why even you've kind of added sugar to your old cells, but yeah, and if you do a long enough fast, like you get into the 60 hours, they actually will give you stem cells. So you don't need stem cell surgeries. Your body will produce the stem cells if you let it. That's the autography. Anyway, yes, that's the whole beauty of the fast is that'll cure you. So Fairleigh Dickinson in 15. There's no way a Florida Atlantic's going to blow them out. Purdue didn't. 78-70. A big 5-star Fairleigh Dickinson. That's like when I won with Princeton. I had Princeton over Arizona, and now I got Princeton over Missouri. Now we got Princeton Creighton. I think Princeton's probably done. See, now you get out of that weekend, and now you got time to settle, and then they travel next weekend. That's when they get it. Miami of Florida, 85. Indiana, 69. What did we play here? We played over 145, and we got over 14, 140, 154. Another over W. Miami put up 85 points, which is surprising. But another winner for the professor. He's got the game over, 145. And then the last one, Gonzaga, TCU. I've got over 153 in the fucking game, and they scored 165. Another winner for professor. So this is why I don't play the games as much as I prefer playing the over-unders. If you just look, Gonzaga is a really high-scoring team. They score like 87, but they don't have a defense. TCU didn't have a defense, which leads you to the over. And 153 is kind of high, but we got a 165. That's about the top you're going to get is an 80-point game. And as they play on more of the defensive team, like Michigan State, they're going to play an under with Kansas State, right? Tennessee, they're the Georgia Bulldogs of college basketball with that defense. Princeton, a good defensive team. San Diego State, a good defensive team. Houston's the best defensive team. Houston, Tennessee. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the finals. Houston's got Miami. So let's go through it. Alabama, San Diego State. We'll have to check the thing. We got a very strong under team, San Diego State, against an A team in Alabama. We got Creighton against Princeton. Depending on the line, I could take Princeton again. They beat Arizona, and then they backed it up, beating Missouri. Now Creighton beat a very good Baylor team. So again, it's all matchups. That's what happens. So kind of we'll have to see what that line is. Florida Atlantic against Tennessee. I love the under in this game. Tennessee, they give up 50 points a game, and they play low-scoring games, and they just beat Duke. I love it. I'm listening to the Michigan State idiots, and they're all going about, this is a very soft bracket. And I'm thinking, this is the hardest bracket in the whole tournament is this bracket. Because not only, you had, when you looked at it initially, you have weak Purdue, then you got Memphis, you have Duke, you have Tennessee, Kentucky, Kansas State, Michigan State, USC, and Marquette. How is this the easiest bracket? You got to be kidding me. Purdue we knew wouldn't go, but then there's Duke, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Marquette. Where the fuck is this easy? When you look at Alabama, they had nobody. They had Arizona who sucked, Virginia who sucked, and Baylor who sucked. So Alabama had the easiest path. So we look for Alabama to get to the Final Four. Here, I think it's got to be Tennessee with this defense. If Tennessee plays Michigan State, it's a lock under, whatever. It could be 100. We're locking it under. Could be our first lock of the tournament if we get like a 130. Florida Atlantic, Tennessee. I see Tennessee winning, low-scoring game. Kansas State, Michigan State. Smells like a tease of the dog. Should be a very even game. Take the points, probably the under. Fuck Michigan State. What did they play Marquette to a 69-60. They hold Marquette's offense to 60. Kansas State's not scoring a lot. What was Kansas State's score? $75-69. They hold Kentucky to 69. They get 75. So a little edge to Kansas State, but this should be a very low-scoring game here. Houston, Miami, we know Houston's 58 defense, unbelievable. And they finally started scoring against a good Auburn team. So here, it's some of these teams, they kind of sleep through it. And then when they get challenged like by Auburn, they start playing, and they put up an 80. That was one of my Saturday losers. I said under 132, and I think it was 140, 81-60 or something like that. Miami beats Indiana. I'm not that impressed with Miami. I think Houston rolls here. Xavier in Texas. As much as I like Xavier, I got like Texas more. Again, that beating Kansas at Kansas by 20, and they just beat a good Penn State team. So Texas, Xavier, I like Texas there. So I got Houston and Texas. And then we'll see. I think I got to play Houston with the defense to get to the Final Four. And then we got Arkansas and UConn. This is Arkansas beating Kansas, beating Illinois. Now they got Connecticut, who played nobody. Connecticut got lucky. They beat Iona, doesn't count. And they beat St. Mary's, who was the 5 seed. So we really don't know with UConn. I went under 126. It went over. I think I hit it. It was 125, so I did win that. Again, they're playing Arkansas, so I'm not sure what to do there. And then Gonzaga and UCLA, that's over city. Gonzaga scores 87, gives up Gonzaga and gives up a ton. And in UCLA, we know how potent they are. They just got by Northwestern. That one I lost. They won by 5. I was laying 7.5. I would have teased it down to 1.5 if it was football and got the W. So I think that's an over. So my Final Four is Alabama, Tennessee, Houston, and it looks like UCLA should be the Final Four. You got to play the defense. So I don't know. Can Creighton or Princeton handle Alabama? I don't think so. Alabama's just in such an easy bracket. It's ridiculous. It's like football. They want Alabama to get to the finals, so they gave them the easiest bracket in the world. And look how strong the East is. So they were never going to get Purdue, maybe Marquette, but they're gone. Then let's get to the Midwest, Houston, Texas. That's good for you, Bobby, Houston and Texas. And then Arkansas, Connecticut should be a beautiful game, and Gonzaga, UCLA should be a beautiful game. So that's our look ahead and our look behind. So we did really well yesterday, although we did lose the 5-star with Baylor. We did win the 5-star, and I'm proud of the Fairleigh Dickinson 5-star. That's when the professor's on. He's hitting Fairleigh Dickinson. Here's a quick header. Alistair, forget gold, buy silver. He's saying how undervalued silver is. On my last video, is a short one, I put some Alistair McLean for you, Bobby. Well, for everybody, but especially for Bobby, where he talks. So what he did one on, and I can rerun it on crypto, and he basically said crypto's worthless. He says, I've been asking people where the value is, and nobody can explain it. He says it's not money, and he says it's probably going to crumble out. So there's your crypto answer in case you didn't believe me. I know you believe Alistair. We all believe Alistair. And then you just talked about the banks and everything. Now, in my last night, I was watching Alistair on Liberty and Finance, which is, I will show you which one I was watching. So I was watching this one. This will lead to destruction. So I'm on there watching it, and there's a number. I call the number because I say, you guys don't ask the right question. The right question is, when does the monopoly of COMEX end to let our gold and silver price go through the roof? Because that's the question that's never asked. I says, you guys keep saying gold's going to go up, silver's going to go up. The only way it's going to go up is to get rid of the monopoly, which I say is because of the I got cinnamon in it today, Bobby, by mistake. I spilled some cinnamon, so I put it and I rubbed it on my avocado. So I say to them, everybody wants to know buying it, but you never ask that question. You say, what do you? But the question is when does the monopoly end? That's really your question that you're not asking. That's the question that needs to be answered. When we know that monopoly goes out, then the price goes to free market. Then we see $50,000 gold and $2,500 silver. We know it's happening soon, but I love an Alistair McLeod to answer. I know I'm freezing a little, Bobby, but I'm YouTube to disturb me. So I asked that question to him. I said, you got to ask this question. You're not asking the right question, because we all know it's COMEX is a monopoly. We all know they're trying to keep the price down so they can keep the monopoly on dollar. And I'm explaining all this to the guy. Now, this isn't the father. This is the son. So he gives me the email, and I email him one of our videos. And I said, I'll be a guest on your show. God knows you people need a good guest who knows what he's talking about. You seldom have a good guest, except for Alistair is a very good guest. And then I said, tell your dad to shorten his questions. He'll rumble on for a minute asking questions. I said, he's got to just, what color is the sky? Boom. What day is it? Boom. What time is it? Boom. Just ask the question, let Alistair talk, or the guys. So I said, I'm an economist. I'm also a handicapper, and I think that comes in handy when I'm analyzing the economy, the fact that how I look at football games. And you can see how I look at football games helps me in basketball. How I look at the economy is all based on how I look at football games and how I am and my personality. So I sent one of these in an email, said it was nice talking to you, and we'll see what happens. So I'll let you know if I'm going to be a guest on Liberty and Finance. I'm not holding my breath, but that's why I do the show here. This is for us. And if I'm on there or not, it doesn't matter. I'd be their best guest besides Alistair, because I would actually explain what's going on. Like, inflation is an increase in the money supply. So I don't know if you watched yesterday's second one, Bobby. It's Alistair. It's two takes from Alistair. But I wanted it separately. So if you need to see what he's saying, you don't look at 2.5 hours of the video to try to find it. You can easily find it there. So anyway, it was very interesting. Crypto's bullshit, as I said. The banking crisis is just the beginning. He says it's phase one. It's just going to keep getting worse. And I am having a hard time believing that all these people couldn't find a better thing for their money. I'll put it in long-term bonds that have a 1% rate. The Fed raised the rate to 5%, and then everybody's doing a bank run. I find it extremely hard to believe. If I'm running a bank, me and Bobby are bankers now. We get all over Bobby, shoe guys, baseball players, and now this. I wouldn't allow us to be in these long-term bonds, knowing interest rates are going up. If we had no other place to put it, we would have put it in gold and silver, or we would have put it in short-term bonds, 90-day bonds. Oh, interest rates are going up. Okay, well, cash them out in 90 days and then go into the higher ones. As they raise the rates, the price of the bond goes down. That's the problem, right? So you bought the bond at 98 with a 1% interest rate. interest rates go to 5, the bond goes to 88, right? So he loses $10 a bond and he's putting a lot in. So as people are giving you, you're a bank, as people are giving you money, what do you do with the money? That's the whole point of a bank. Normally they loan it out for car loans or mortgages, and they get 5% and they give you 1% and they make 4% on the money. Only they can print money without having it. So they're printing, oh, you want a loan? Yeah, we'll just print money for you. And so that's part of the inflation also. Professor, you prefer Egon or Alistair? I prefer Alistair. I think they're both Austrian, and Egon's more Swiss. And I'm wondering what's happening with Credit Suisse, because I thought he was like the president of that bank. But Alistair, he's British. I hear him more, but when Egon's on, I listen. And when Alistair's on, I listen. So I like them both. Andrew Maguire, that live from the vault, it was terrible this week. He had some guy, Carl Lee or something, and he's Canadian. What a idiot. I couldn't follow him. He kept talking about himself. And I'm like writing in the comments, who is this idiot? I says, why aren't you talking about the banking scandals that have been happening? We don't want it. Whatever he told me, I didn't listen. And then he kept calling COMEX the cartel. And Andrew McGuire needs to say, okay, we talk physical here. We know there's a cartel. We know it's a monopoly on COMEX, but we're trying to break it with the Russians. So he says, give me the gold prediction. He says, well, no, he says, give me silver prediction. He says, well, $28 an ounce. I'm looking at the chart. I'm like, oh, how the fuck is this guy on? You can't look at the chart because the chart is COMEX and the COMEX isn't real. It's not like they're actually playing the games to chart. It's all price fixed. So you can't listen to the COMEX. So you can't listen to the guy. So I turned it off. I said, I can't listen to this guy. He's too stupid. Stop having these stupid guests on. We want Andrew to explain what the fuck happened in the banking sector. He's a banker. Well, so is Alistair, and Alistair gave a better definition, and that's what I showed on my little one. Bobby, random food question. Do you like sandwiches like roast beef? Sure. I do. Again, I'm probably going to put it in my omelet versus making a sandwich out of it, or occasionally I've been having chicken in the pita. So you can't have bread, too much sugar. So if you do a little bit of pita, or put it in your omelet, or just fry it up and just eat it just as you would an egg. I know you like to make burgers, but do you eat them on hamburger buns or something? No, I don't eat them on hamburger buns. I just eat them plain, just like I'm eating the yogurt, right? Or the avocado. So if I'm at Wendy's, I'll order a double as opposed to two of them, and then I will have a bun depending on who I'm out with eating a Wendy's. If I'm at home, I don't have bun, no, and then I'll make 3 pounds, so I have 9 of them. So I'll make 9 burgers, pretty good size. And I'm cooking them with, Ken's Italian dressing, a little olive oil, and my seasonings. And then I broil them. And then occasionally I'll fry them, but I like them boiled. I can broil all 9. And then I will put one in my omelet. So when I'm making my omelet, I rip up the 1 hamburger, put onions, put yellowers, all that, and then pour the 3 eggs over it and then bake it. And it's great that way. The egg's actually the bun, but it's very, very healthy. I did see some grass-fed ones at Meijer's. They were like $12.50 a pound for grass-fed hamburger. But I'm like, $12 a pound? It's just, is it really that much of a benefit over the way I eat my hamburgers? And so I just bought my hamburgers. But if me and you are out at a restaurant and we're at a bar watching the game and I get a hamburger, I'm probably going to eat it with the bun. So on those occasions, I will eat the bun, but generally at home, no bun. And mostly in my eggs because I love them in my omelet. Um, you've got to understand you don't want the bread. You don't want the carbs. That's what you need to focus on. So no carbs means no bread. So don't have the roast beef, the turkey, the chicken, the hamburger, but don't put it on a bread. So don't even go to Taco Bell and get the Frito or Dorito thing. You can't get that. So you have chili and you can have your soups. The salt doesn't bother you. And then you go from there. I need to take a break from beer. Yeah, well, it's the sugar. There's a lot of sugar in beer. The hops, they ferment them. If you ever went to Budweiser or if you're ever in Amsterdam and you take a break from the red light district and you go to there's like Heineken distillery. They put it in a vat and ferment it. It's very, very sugary. That's why you get a buzz from it. Alcohol, the reason you get high from it is the sugar is so condensed. Like you're drinking sugar basically, and that's why you get drunk or high from it. And that's it. So, again, it's have one or two beers. I wouldn't have 10 beers, right? But again, you've got to be thinking of your health, right? You're thinking of your health. You want to be healthy, so don't have 5 beer. Have one or two watching the game, but then go back to I don't know, some other and don't have juice. Juice is you might as well have beer over orange juice because the juice is very much sugar. Anyway, so just be careful with that. So if you get a chance, watch Alistair here. This is just Saturday. Very good. I put some comments or some parts of it in my in yesterday's video, which was it's like a 20-minute one. That's what it is. So I kept it separate because I'll go 3 hours here and you're going to try to figure out where the hell that is. So I'm trying to help you. So are you losing weight in your 20-hour fast and you're feeling better? Your blood pressure down, your blood sugar down? I hope so. You should notice a difference. Your pants should get much looser. I know Nick just started it last week. I emailed him. He said he's fine. So once you get into it once you get about a month into it, then you really, like eating the avocado is it's a second thought. It's okay, oh, good. I get to eat my avocado. It's noon now. Anyway, so let's see. So gold today, I just looked. Gold hit 2,000. I showed you that, Bobby. On NASDAQ 2,000. Well, NASDAQ 2,000 is really 20,000 in the real world. So if gold goes up $180 on NASDAQ, what do you think it would do in real world? Would be a hell of a lot more. Let's see. Gold price today. Here we go, 1995. So now it's going to cost you $2,100 for your ounce of silver, for your ounce of gold at our store. Here it's 1976 down 12, but you can see the 10 o'clock crunch and then back up. So one's the NASDAQ COMEX futures, and then this is the actual price. So 1976. And it's up in the last 30 days, $150. So you can see how much this moves. $330 the last 6 months, and 150. So we saw that before. Then it went down. So the going up and down is COMEX. This is demand based. Let's check, Bobby, your silver price. 22.48. There you go. So I was talking to Jenna earlier. And I said, by the way, that ounce of gold I gave you in Ukrainian dollars is worth. So if I give her $100, she gets 3,500 because it's like 35 to 1 the Ukrainian dollar. So now I said, well, if you have your ounce of gold and you sell it, you get 73,000 hryvnias. Now, that's not dollars, that's hryvnias, and it's 30, let's call it 35 to 1. So it's about $2,000 US. But if she needs money, she can get 73,000 hryvnias to do that. So just interesting. See, but it all comes back to US because it's all price fixed with fucking COMEX, which, see, I can say fucking and they won't say a word, but if I say against the WHO, then they have a problem. It's crazy. And this is the first time I ever got a warning from them. And somehow the Dow's up $400 today. Can anybody explain who the fuck's buying stocks? UBS agrees to take over Credit Suisse. So instead of letting the bank go, UBS, probably JP Morgan, buys it. So that makes the stock market go up. Dow rises more than 300 points as investors hope Credit Suisse rescue stifles the banking crisis. Unbelievable. These people are so stupid. Stock market today down up as investors assess Credit Suisse deal. So because of the Credit Suisse deal, I'm going to buy stocks because that'll end the banking crisis. Wow. I mean, really, you can take that to that length to say that as a way of getting out of stocks, really. Okay. Unbelievable how they get from A to B. Really, really don't get it. So this is the one I'm talking about. I keep a note on this one. This is Putin and Xi meeting in Moscow. Why does that do that? So Putin and Xi meeting in Moscow. So they can't be they're up to no good. So keep that in mind. That's our action. Let's check the reaction once we figure out what the hell they're meeting each other. This moron's trying to sell his book, Gold and Silver Rush. But does he explain JP Morgan and COMEX being fixed and we're waiting for the Russian gold-backed money to get gold up? Does he explain that? Probably not. He's not intelligent enough to do that. Well, anyway, don't watch the one, our normal live from the vault. You're not going to like it. This guy's terrible. See, again, he comes up with this. This is Mike Maloney, and he comes up with this, headline. But then when you go watch the video, he can't explain it. Silver will change forever when this goes public. What? And then he doesn't get to the point, and silver's not going to change forever. It's getting rid of COMEX. So the whole point is, when are we getting rid of COMEX? Anyway, I watch this channel once in a while. She explains things pretty well, but she doesn't really understand economics. But she's good for like this: Poland, Slovakia. Where are you going to find this kind of news, right? So I watch this. She's Indian. So if you're looking for like what's really going on, I check her out. Anyway. So we know what's happening. See, the key to what our life is we know this is going to zero. They're giving Ukraine more money. They're printing to bail out all the banks. So as I said, Bobby, you missed it. So there won't be the bail in. So you're not going to lose your $100,000 in the bank as we once feared on bail-ins, where the bank steals your money. This is going to be the bank are going to get bailouts from the government. So that means the money that you get is going to be worthless. So they printed 1 million of these, which makes this value $200, right? That's what it's worth, because it's printed to hell 1990 hoops cards. There's no difference. The difference is they can't print these anymore because it's now 2023. They are still printing these. So if you do a bailout and you come up with $250 billion to bail out Silicon Valley Bank, which is all over the world, not just in the U.S. But so now you're going to print more money, and the more money, this is worthless, right? So your only substitute, or your only competition for that, is gold and silver. And that's what JP Morgan doesn't want you to know. They want to think that there is no substitute. The rest of the world, so if I'm in euro and my euro is collapsing, I put my money in the US dollar as safe haven. Well, they now understand that the dollar is not safe haven, and the only safe haven is gold. That is the only competition or substitution you can go to, is gold and silver. And people are waking up to that, which will raise the price and lower the demand for this, which kills COMEX. Once the demand's gone, the monopoly over nothing is nothing. So that's what we're waiting on. And that's what I want to, if I get on this Liberty and Finance, is what I'm going to tell them, because I don't ever see that. Nobody on that show thinks like I do. Maybe Alistair a little bit. But my thought is all free market competition, Say's law. And I don't hear that from anybody. They don't understand it, or they can't explain it where I do. And that's really the key point of when I explain it. As I said to the guy on the phone, when I explain it, I very rarely get a question or an email, I don't understand what you said. I can't follow you. I don't understand your chart. This is because I don't use charts, because I don't need charts. This is more of this type of economics is more of a thought process. It's more individuals. You can't chart individuals, because they're going to change from Bobby and me going on this new way of eating, and we avoid chocolate and we avoid carbs. Well, how do you model that, right? Your model is people are going to eat so much M&Ms and so much Wonder Bread. Here comes this diet. Everybody's dying from diabetes. We see the problem. We act and react to the problem, which is sugar and carbs, high fructose corn syrup. We get off of that. Now we're healthy, but we've switched from that to avocados, dark chocolate. And because we've done that, your old model doesn't work, because you've modeled X amount of of M&Ms is now gone because nobody's eating them. And now you got to remodel that. But it's like Peyton Manning going to Denver from Indy. You got to take the whole trends are no good anymore. Or Brady from New England to Tampa. All the New England trends are gone. And so therefore, if you're trying to model the economy as they try to do and get supply and demand and price and equality and all this bullshit, you're trying to get all that. Well, it keeps changing. You can't. That's why you can't do it. It's Say's law. What do the people want now? And then make it. We don't want electric cars. So you're making something we don't want. So really the whole thing of Austrian economics is make what the people want. That's the key to it. Find the price. That's what you sell it for. That's why you can't categorize inflation, because if you raise the price too much and you call that inflation and then nobody buys it, you have to lower the price. I see Coke went from $2.99 to $2.79 at Meijer's, and it's buy two, get the third one free. And not only that, it's if you buy Coke or Pepsi. So you could buy 1 2-liter of Coke, 1 2-liter of Pepsi. You get one of anyone you want free. Well, then it's not $2.79. The price is even cheaper. Because if you divide, that's let's call it 280 is $5.60, but now divided by 3 is like $1.75 for your 3 bottles of pop. So that's really the price is coming down. And you'll call it deflation. And that's what these people think. It's either inflation or deflation. And what Alistair just said, what I agree with, you get hyperinflation. So the economy goes out. Like in Germany, the economy went, Rome, the economy goes to zero. It's not like the economy increases or the economy decreases. It's the economy inflates, goes to hyperinflation, goes to out. You don't have an economy anymore. You have to recreate your fucking economy. That's where we're headed, not nobody buys, so the prices drop. This is the problem with the Keynesians. This is the problem that Powell doesn't understand. Powell wants to raise interest rates to slow the economy, so the economy will now go down, and he thinks prices will go down because he thinks prices are inflation. It blows your fucking mind. How stupid are these guys in charge of this thing? They don't understand the simple basic concept. You print more, it's worth less. Show me where that's not true. Show me how this has gone up in value ever, and show me how this has any type of value with all that's printed, right? So that's why I show you the limited cards. That's why I bought the limited cards, right? It's out of 25. It's out of 50. Because they're very limited. You can't make more. And things that are only 25 or 50. So I will read what I love reading is my money. And I say, it's got to be qualities of money. Step 1. Step 2 is scarce, high value. Overabundance loses value. So your money, you want to be scarce. You don't want something that you print a 10 trillion, 20 trillion of. That's the problem. Why they're missing this concept, it blows my mind how they think they can just print, and it won't have a bearing. I sit there and I go, how can you justify that? And where has it ever come true? So they think we'll just keep printing US dollars and it won't affect the value. This is what we're dealing with, right? So we understand this, but that's why most people don't. And I told that guy on Liberty and Finance, I said, nobody understands this. Nobody knows what I teach. And that's why I said, I don't charge because people need to understand it. People need to learn it and understand what's going on. Most people don't. And I said, that's why it's free. It's more important to me that Bobby understands and Nick and all my friends and family understand what I'm telling them than to make money off of it. This is not what you make money on. Football picks is different. That's our hobby. That's our profession. That's my profession. That I'm going to charge you for because we're going to make money on it. And you're going to make money with that. Here, you're going to make far more money, but I can't. I don't have the heart to charge. because you're going to buy gold and silver. And now we're just waiting for COMEX to crumble. And I think it crumbles because the value, nobody wants the US dollar anymore. It's up to like 80 countries now who do not want US dollars and this gold. I think part of the thing of this war now is Russia, China want to come out with a gold-backed currency. And we know the last two people, Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein, who tried to come out with it, they went to war and killed them. But you ain't going to war and killing Russia and China. That's the problem. You can't really you can go to war against these small Libyas, but you're not going to war against Russia, China. That's why I think it'll succeed, and we'll have the gold standard, and the value of gold goes through the roof. And then Bobby can be happy with his $2,000 silver. I didn't go to the coin store this weekend. I'm waiting I did my unemployment today. It looked like it went through. It said, go ahead. Didn't give me a note. Oh, wait, you can't do it. So I should get it. It says next day, but let's assume Wednesday. And I'll check my bank Wednesday. And then I can go back and buy some more silver. Now, last time he didn't have any. I did get the roll of 20, Bobby. I think I showed you. I don't know if you saw it. So last week I bought the 20, like after the banking problems, I bought another 20 of the bullion. And he had gold. He had 5 or 6 eagles at 2,000 a piece, and then he had a quarter ouncer for 5 something. So I'm always tempted to buy the quarter ouncers, but I bought 20 ounces of silver, and I just thought, that's probably more prudent. We'll see, but I don't know what to buy. I mean, I think I have enough, and then I look at my girlfriends and I say, I can always get more. At the end of the line, it's like you're betting on Georgia under, right? Georgia's 53 in the bowl game, and you're betting it under. And 2 years ago, right? This defense, nobody's scoring on it. And you make a bet, and you bet $1,000 on it. And you go, fuck, I got to bet more on it. It doesn't, and then I put another $1,000 on it. And I put another 500. You used to see me in Vegas. I go to like Caesars or William Hill, and I'll make a bet, and then I go, let's do a 6-team teaser. Oh, Georgia, here we go. You still like Georgia. And you just keep, I don't have enough on them. And you just keep betting it. And that's how I feel with silver. It's just, I have it, but for the $25 for the ounce, I'll talk to people, as you know, at the pool, and they'll say, well, I don't have the money. I go, come on, you can buy 4 of them for $100. How do you not have $100 to spend on silver? It'll be worth $2,000 an ounce. You buy 4 ounces, it's worth $8,000 to you. You don't have $100 to turn it into $8,000? Very, very soon. There's no way to stop it. I ordered more Cougar. There you go, Bobby. Order some gold for me, will you? At least if quarter ouncers. It's such a no-brain. You can't. It's not going down from 25. And, realistically, we all know it'll be at least 1,000 an ounce. And then as it gets rolling, once people see it, this is what the JP Morgan and the Fed, same person, fear is that it goes to 500 and people realize that it's really money and really higher. And then everybody leaves the dollars, and it'll be like a stampede out the door and into silver. And then silver goes from 500 to 2,500 and gold. So once people realize, see, everybody's brainwashed into thinking these aren't real price. These are the real prices. This is supply and demand, and it's not. These are fake derivative fucking prices. Once people realize that, and that's what I try to tell them, they're fantasy prices. They're not real. They're being held down by these phony derivatives, not at market. Once it hits market, it's considerably higher. And I don't know how much longer you're going to keep it off of market. Hey, Greg and John. I called Purdue and I called Princeton, so I'm pretty happy. Just a second, Bobby. I actually was taking a look at some gold coins, but then noticed it was over 2,000 an ounce. Well, that's what it is now. When it hits 20,000 an ounce, then what are you going to do? Well, you can buy quarter ounces, as I said. My guy you can go buy a quarter ounce Cougar or a quarter ounce Eagle, $500. So that's the way of buying. Instead of buying the ounce for $2,000, but you can afford 500, you get the quarter ounces, and they're going to be easier to sell anyway. Gold hits 50,000. A quarter ounce is what, 10,000, right? 12,000. It's 12,005. Yeah, 25.50. So then you get 12,005 for it instead of the 50. But this thing's really going to go. So, with all the countries getting out of the U.S. and the U.S. imploding, now doing these bailouts with all the bank, how many banks are in the same position as these banks? All of them. All of the banks are in the same position. The difference is I think JP Morgan has gold, has silver, and then all the central banks have gold. Everyone, well, not the US, not Canada, not the UK. They don't have any gold. Everybody else has gold. Everybody else knows what's going on. The US thinks they're smarter than everybody else, going, well, we'll just keep the derivative price going. We won't, so we'll keep the price down. Well, okay, guys, it's only a monopoly if people want the dollar, which they don't. So Greg or John, I gave my final four. I'll give it to you again. I think it'll be Alabama, Houston, Tennessee, and UCLA. Tennessee's defense is incredible. Houston's defense is incredible. I don't think Princeton can handle, or Creighton, Alabama. And then the other one is UCLA, Gonzaga, and Arkansas, Connecticut. I don't know how, Gonzaga doesn't have the defense to stop UCLA. And then it's up to whoever wins Arkansas, Connecticut, if they have the defense, which I didn't see that. So you bet the defense here on Tennessee and Houston. And Tennessee can beat Alabama because if you can play defense, you can stop these offensive teams. Anyway, that's my feeling. I was surprised Michigan State won, and I was surprised. Although I did have, and I gave that out as a 5-star yesterday, was Fairleigh Dickinson. You beat Purdue, you're getting 15.5 points. Nobody can beat anybody by 15.5 points in this tournament. Maybe Alabama over, but they're not even laying 15.5. Florida Atlantic's going to lay 15.5. They couldn't lay 15.5 in football. They're not going to lay it here. So I love that one. That one made me feel good that I hit that one. But outside of that, I don't know. I watched a little of it. Too many commercials for me. I go back to movies. Now, I was watching this very interesting thing on 9/11. Now, we've talked about it before, about it being a gold robbery. Now, they had a bunch of architects. So if you got Tubi and you do a search on 9/11, there's like 100 architects and engineers, and they talk about the buildings, and they say it's impossible for it to have been a fire. It's only, and everything, the only possibility of what happened was demolition, because the way a building is made, it's reinforced with steel each floor. So if the floor collapsed, it would stop on the floor, on the next floor down. So floor 105 would stop at floor 104. And the way the beams are made, that's it. It's not going any further. It's certainly not free falling. And the free falling is the demolition. So if you watch it in slow motion, like they did, here's the floor. You'll see a little white puff 10 floors down. That's it blowing up. And then it goes there. And then you keep seeing these white puffs, which they're blowing up the building. The building was blown up. It was demolished. Building 7 and 1 and 2 were all demolished. And all these architects and engineers are mechanical engineers. They're all saying the same thing. No, it had to have been that, and this NIST people that did the thing all lied about it. Another government cover up. Oh, I'm so shocked. So they said there's absolutely no way it was a terrorist attack. It was clearly demolition, which we've talked about here before. No, oh motherfucker! Wait. Oh, good. I thought I lost it. As we've talked about it, it was a gold robbery, but it was a demolition. And now I'm more convinced it was the Israelis who did it because we just told the Israelis to get their money out of Silicon Valley 2 days before it crashed. They had like $100 billion in there. So I'm wondering, what do we have with why would we tell the Israelis to get their money out? So now I'm more and more convinced that they were the ones who did 9/11 and stole all the gold. And I know we've talked about it here where somebody said how powerful the Israeli mafia is. And we know how powerful, and we know the Russians. So that's who I believe did it. And that's what I've heard. But now you can see that it was demolished. It was a demolition. Who demolitions building 1, 2, and 7? Why did building 7 go down? I still don't understand what that had to do with the price of tea. And then 1 and 2. But the way there's no way and then they say there's no way the fire could have possibly caused the building to collapse. They said that's impossible because the fire doesn't last that long, and it's not. They say airline fire from an engine's 2,500 degrees, but you need like 4,000 degrees to actually burn the metal. Then they said there was bombs planted at the base. I don't remember the thing, nitrate, I think, or something like that. I'm not a bomb guy, but blew up the base with these bombs. And that I am pro. Okay, there I'm back. So I might freeze for about 20 seconds. Yes, my connection's unstable. Da 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 da. They don't want me talking about 9/11, I guess. Okay, I'm back. So I'm normal. Anyway, they said there was the bombs that were so at the base there was this yellowish fire that they said that could only be from a bomb. So basically, it was bombed, and basically it was a demolition. You can see the little white puffs. If you look, see everybody's looking at the floor going down, but if you look down here, white puff, because it should never. The pillars should hold it, right? The pillars were made to withstand that. So if it was a hurricane, it wouldn't fall. So they were made very, very strong to not allow a hurricane wind to blow it off. So don't listen to me. Go watch the engineers talk about it, mechanical engineers and stuff, who know their shit, like I know my shit, and I was fascinated going, well, I know it was bullshit, but they really explained it, and they want it open. And then it became not trusting the government. If some of the engineers were telling their friends, and the friends wouldn't believe it. And it's like me, people to buy gold. So they say, well, the government said it was a terrorist attack, and to prove it wrong, people can't handle that. And they took a lot of our rights away and came up with all this TSA and Homeland Security and all this bullshit. So that's why they did it. And they added all this security for your good and took a lot of our rights away. Like we go to an airplane, we got to take our belt and our shoes off. That's ridiculous. They should be able to check for, if we have anything that would be just on our persons. That's why we're going through rights. And now here's some more financial. They're going to take some more rights away. But don't get into digital currency. Too many people, getting the gold and silver. That's why they don't want you in gold and silver, because you won't need digital currency. And believe me, you don't want it. You don't want to be tracked and controlled like the Apple. So keep that in mind. You want to be very careful. So if for no other reason you buy silver to stay safe, stay free, you wouldn't understand that silver is going to keep your freedom because you're out of the system and don't want to be in this. If this is the system, I don't want to be in it, right? So keep that in mind. So this is that I didn't already know. Again, I'm having an unstable connection. I assume it's you too. Okay, now I'm okay. Anyway, so buy your gold and silver. And if you can't afford the 1 ounce for 2,000, 2,100, you buy the quarter ounces. It's not uncommon. It's still gold. You want to buy gold and silver. You want to collect as many coins as you can. You don't give a fuck about the price. This is not about income averaging. I hear that, I throw up. This is not about buying silver at 25 and then it goes to 30 and you sell it. And then this is about buying as much as you can eat at 25. And that's it. That's all this is about is I have 100 ounces of silver. And when silver goes through the roof and you need to eat, you got your silver. You go to the store and cash it in. And no, you're not going to take a quarter ounce, an ounce of silver and go to the grocery. That's worth $2,000 and go to the grocery store and buy food with it. You're going to go to the coin store, cash it in, and then so pretend gold is like a Rolex, right? So you own a Rolex now worth 20 grand. What do you do? Oh, how am I supposed to eat with the Rolex? Well, what do you think you would do? Or what if you have the Rolex, you're going to sell it. You go on eBay, you sell it, you get your 20 grand. Now you take the 20 grand and you go eat at, you go to the steakhouse, you go to the grocery store and you use the money to do that. Just as if you have a Mantle card or this Jordan's worth $250. Well, I'm not going to take the card to the grocery store. I'm going to sell the card, get the money, take the money to the grocery store, just like I do now, only it's convenient. That's why. So when you have $1,000 on your debit card, it's cash, but they've made it convenient. So you carry the card with the $1,000 balance, go to the grocery store, spend $100. Now you got 900. It's still not digital. It's electronic and it's cash in the bank. It's still money, but you just don't need to carry the $1,000. You could carry $1,000 in your pocket, give them $100 at the thing, although it's getting harder and harder to use money. But, we have debit cards. I don't think anybody doesn't have a debit card that wants one. I don't think you don't have a bank account, that wants one. I don't see why that's an issue. If I move to Europe, I'll go to a bank and open up a bank account. I've done that, or actually I've already done that in Romania at the Bank of Transylvania. Now, I've never been to Transylvania, but it's like Chase. They're in every city, right? So I opened up, I didn't have money, and so I opened up a Bank of Transylvania account, and somebody wired me money because they couldn't give it to me. It was very clever, but so I have a Bank of Transylvania account in Romania. I should get I wonder if I went in, I could get it. Then I could transfer money to the account. That would be kind of neat. Funny. So I can, at Credit Suisse or one of these Swiss, I would cash my gold in, put it in the account. That way I don't have to deal with going on the airline or worrying about anything there. And then I could just transfer $5 grand from Switzerland to here and off I go. So buy as much as you can now, because as Bobby's stating, it was 2,000 an ounce. Wait till it's 20,000 an ounce. You're going to go buy gold then, or you're going to buy gold now? And the difference is, okay, you buy it at 2,000, it's still 2,000 6 months later, and you need the money. You go back to the coin store. Maybe he gives you back 1950, and you get the money, and off you go. But the reward is now it's worth 20,000 because you're not going to be able to afford it at 20,000, right? Once it hits that, we're not buying an ounce. Well, maybe Bobby can, but the rest of us aren't going to buy an ounce of gold for 20 grand. However, we can still get a quarter ounce for $5,000. But that's why I'm saying buy the quarter ounces for 500 now. At worst case, you sell them back to the coin store and you get your 500 back. So it's a no risk, but we do know for a fact this is losing value. So we know this is, so my other choice is stay here and watch it go to zero, or be in the gold or silver and watch it go up. Even if it stays, this is going to zero. Now, we don't know the time frame, but it is going to zero, and we know nobody wants it, and we know a monopoly over nothing is nothing. So we all know that. And yes, I know I repeat it, but I don't care. New people watching, and I want to hammer the point home. So we talked basketball. Let's talk football. So what's new? If I was anybody, I would never sign Lamar Jackson to $50 million contract. And if it was me, I would put Lamar Jackson at wide receiver and say, go cover him. Sort of like Hines Ward. Go cover him. Although I don't know if he can catch and run a route. But to me, he's not a quarterback. And I don't know, maybe I put him at a running back, but then maybe I just run the wishbone and play action and pitch it to him. I don't know. So what do we know? We got Garoppolo. Is he on Oakland? We know Miami's got Tagliavoa. Is Aaron Rodgers officially a Jet? I think he is. So this would be interesting, the draft. I think it comes in April. That'll be there's no good quarterbacks. I did a quarterback run, and there's not a lot of good quarterbacks out there. They're all coming out next year with Rising and Van Dyke and those guys. I think points. How are you today? Any questions, comments? Hi. Yes, I see. Hi. You're good. That's good to hear. What topic are you interested in? Economics, gold, sports, basketball, football, poker? Anyway, so we will see. I mean, there's too much with this. These mock drafts are just so stupid. I can't. I don't understand. Well, they're going to take them, and this is going to be there. Nobody knows. And then if this Richardson goes in the top 5, whoever made that pick, if he plays, which he shouldn't, we're going to bet against that team every week. Every week we're betting against that team. What do they think? He's Jalen Hurts? Like he could run, all of a sudden he's accurate? What do I know about India? Basically that they buy a ton of gold and silver, mostly for their weddings. Outside of that, they're becoming a manufacturing hub, as all the people are moving away from China to India to do like Apple and all these other electronic people that was getting their goods done by China because they were cheap are now moving it to India because it's cheap. I know you're part of BRICS, and hopefully you'll get into the hurry with the gold back currency so our gold can go up. I'm eating an avocado. It's my it's my health food, basically. It's the healthiest food in the world. Now, I do a fast where I don't eat till noon, so that's why I eat this while we're doing the show, because it's 2:00, and I'd have a hard time not eating until 2:30, 3:00 when this is done. Let's see, who is chatting with me here? Jenna or Daria? Which one is it? That was by Jenna. What do I do for a living? I teach economics and handicap football games, play poker. I have a master's in Austrian economics, and something everybody needs to know. Anyway, so what were we talking about? So India, that's what I know about it. And that's it. Apologize for that. My friend's in the Ukraine, and so it's late for her. It's about 8:00 at night, and she's in the middle of a war. What about Pakistan? I know they went broke. Where are you telling me you're in Pakistan? Okay. So football, these mock drafts, nobody really cares about them. They're stupid. They're talking points, but they don't mean anything. Like I said, I think the good quarterbacks are not, rising. They don't even have rising in the top 10. That shows how bad they are. They don't know what to look for. It's like gold. They don't understand it. And they don't know what to look for in a quarterback like Rising and Van Dyke and those guys. So this year I like Bennett and I like Thompson Robinson, UCLA. I like Duggan from TCU. I do not like the Ohio State quarterback. And then the fact that none of them do good because of the system, these idiot on the radio will still want you to think that, well, not all Ohio State quarterbacks are bad. And you're like, name one that's good. And you can't. You can go back 10 years and you can't name a good Ohio State quarterback because none of them are good. It's a system thing. Just like Alabama. It's a system thing. They're not really good. And they do good because of Alabama being what they are. So that's the problem. So anyway, so these mock drafts it's hard. What is inflation? It's the devaluation of the money by printing too much. That's why this is in half, because this is what it's worth, and now it's worth this. So now it's worth about 2 cents. So the concept is the more you print, the less value, because money needs to be very limited. It's got to be scarce, right? It's got to be a high value. If you print too much of it, it loses value. And that's what inflation is. You've hurt the value of the money. It's not worth what it was. It's worth a lot less. And because of that, prices go up because it takes more money to buy a Coca-Cola because you've hurt the value of the money. And people think, oh, prices went up. That's inflation. No, it's the dollar losing its value has created more things. Everything is more expensive because it takes more dollars because you're pricing everything in dollars. Gold and silver should never be priced in dollars. Dollars should be priced in gold and silver. That's the problem. That's why you keep seeing JP Morgan going, oh, no, it's $2,000 for an ounce of gold. It should be the ounce of gold buys this $500,000 house or this Ferrari. That's what an ounce of gold's worth. I like Pepsi. Okay. Repo rate, very high. A lot of people can't afford their cars, so they are getting out. They're just leaving their cars. They're not paying it out. And the car dealerships have nobody wants to buy their cars because the interest rates are too high. So they're being flooded. I see Ford and GM are the next to collapse. So what's collapsed right now? The banks, because they're supposedly not aware of these interest rate hikes and they're all in low interest bonds. Really? They're all they're all that stupid. They don't understand Powell's raising interest rate. They can't figure that out. So the next thing's going to be the car industries. They're going to need bailouts because they're all going broke because they're idiots. They're trying to sell electric cars. I'm suddenly in the mood for a nice day. There you go, Bobby. I think I'm going to run out and go get a nice roast or a steak myself. I have, say on the weekend, so I have my General Chow, which I had Saturday and Sunday. And so I got chicken, right? And then I got a whole freezer full of meat, expecting prices to go up. So that's really, I'm not really trying to eat that. I'm just trying to store it while I'm buying it cheap. So I think I will go, especially now that I'm getting my Social Security and my unemployment. And now I'm actually making a lot of money for doing nothing, and which I like, the American way, right? And so I might go buy a nice steak or at least some hamburgers and go. What about gross domestic product? I don't really care about that. Basically, you're ruining the value of money, of the currency. So my advice is you get out of the currency, you buy gold and silver because that's actual money and you won't lose your value. So do you realize if the banks had bought gold instead of bonds, they would not be in this problem because then they could just go sell their gold. So if they would have put all their what is it, like $500 billion instead of in the bonds and the gold, and now the people came for their money, and all they'd have to do is go sell some gold to get the money to pay the people out, and the gold would never have lost the value. This is the part that's amazing to me, is how stupid these people are. If you understood what gold and silver really are, you would never invest in a mutual fund or any of these bonds. You would just buy gold. And then if you needed the money, you'd sell it back for the money and you wouldn't lose a nickel. You cannot lose. You're never going to lose a nickel buying gold. And so it's just amazing. But that's why we need the physical price to go to reality, a physical price, not this paper price. Think points will learn a lot in this class. Absolutely. What's UKN, think points? UK will be a poor country, and they're already broke. You can add all of Europe to that too. Germany collapsing. All the Euros are in big trouble. As you said, Pakistan collapsed. Japan collapsed. Germany's collapsed. Greece has already been out. Sri Lanka is out, and Japan and the euro are the next to go out. Maybe Switzerland should be okay. Sweden, maybe. These Eastern Europe, like Russia's actually going to be fine. They're the ones with all the gold. Russia and China. See, I think after thinking about it a little bit further, another case I'm understanding is the other reason JP Morgan's holding the price of gold and silver down with the derivatives is the U.S. has no gold. If gold goes to 30,000 an ounce, which is where it should be, the U.S. doesn't have any gold. They're not going to benefit from it. Me and Bobby are going to benefit, right? Gold, silver go up. Hey, we just made a bunch of money. But if you don't have gold and silver, you don't make anything. And who does make when gold goes up is Russia, China, and India. They're the ones who are gonna benefit because they're holding all this gold that's way, way undervalued. But if you don't have any, now I know JP Morgan has silver. At least I believe they do. And I don't know if it's for the derivatives or it's personal. And I know Warren Buffett, I think, has some silver also. But he doesn't buy gold because it's not used in anything. Like, this guy's a fucking idiot, Warren Buffett. Who is Morgan? I'm from India. Morgan Stanley. JP Morgan is the biggest mafia head in the world, who runs JP Morgan Bank, who runs the Federal Reserve of the U.S. He's a crook. He wants monopolies because he doesn't know how to compete. And, yeah, you're going to do better if you have a monopoly. So he runs derivatives, which are phony, to keep the price of gold and silver down. It's all manipulated. So that's who JP Morgan is. Just think of mafia. I'm sure you have mafia in India. And he runs it. He runs the central banks, the Federal Reserve. He has the monopoly on printing the U.S. money, and he doesn't want gold to compete with it. A lot of what you'll learn here is gold is competition. That's the key to Austrian economics is competition, right? I can substitute a steak for a hamburger. And if I don't like this restaurant, I can go to that restaurant. If I don't like this girl, I can go to that girl. If I don't like this boy, I can go to that boy. I have competition, teams, tennis shoes, whatever it is, any product. I want competition. I don't want a monopoly because then there's nowhere to go and the price is too high. In this case, he's actually keeping the price low on gold because the U.S. doesn't have any, and he doesn't want Russia and China to realize it all. But I think that's ending very soon. What's your opinion on Ukraine-Russian conflict? I think it's Russia versus the U.S. I have no idea what they're doing. There's no point in it. All Russia had to do was make a deal with the Ukraine for Crimea, which they already had, and or Odessa and the Sea of Azov. Russia wants a warm weather seaport because they can't get to the Mediterranean and to the Atlantic and all that from Russia because it's too north. They got to go to Antarctic and all the ice, and there's no way around it versus going the Mediterranean, the Atlantic, and the Pacific and everything. So it's also about oil, but it's also about the U.S. It's the U.S. versus Russia is what's really happening. And the U.S. is such, they're actually, we don't care if the Ukrainians die. We're not sending troops over there. It's a freaking joke how badly run the U.S. is with this. Well, I won't say. I might get a strike. It's just so how pathetic of what's happening. And I don't know what the war is still doing on. I don't know what Ukraine's fighting for their freedom, I guess, but I don't know. Even if Russia took it, I don't see how it would be any different. You'd different currency and you'd have Putin in charge instead of Zelensky. But my friends that live there, they probably wouldn't notice the difference, just a different currency. I know they go to Russia and back. They go from Ukraine to Moscow and St. Pete and back to Ukraine. And they're all families. And so it really doesn't make any sense. I wish it would end already so I could go to Russia. I have a friend in Russia I want to go see. But outside of that, I think it's a joke. Russia's got a lot of gold, so they're fine. The U.S. it's costing them a ton. I guess it's part of our plan to go broke. That's the joke of it. Think points, you need to buy metals, ASAP. Gold and silver think points. You need to buy gold and silver before it goes up. That's what Bobby's saying. As quick as possible. Because as Bobby pointed out, he wants to buy gold. It's over $2,000 an ounce now. Well, what are we going to do when it hits $20,000 an ounce? You're gonna be able to afford gold then? So that's the point. It will go up because you're killing the dollar. So that's really what Bobby's saying is you buy it now before you can't afford it. And it's rough when it's over $2,000 to afford. That's why I tend to, but you can buy quarter ounces and half ounces and tenth of an ounces. Tenth of an ounce is about $230. Quarter ounce, which I would recommend over the tenth of an ounce, is $500. And then, because look at, you buy 5/10 of an ounce. No, you buy 3/10 of an ounce, it's going to cost you like $700. But if you buy the quarter ounce, it's $500. And so you, instead of 3/10 of an ounce, you're buying 0.25 tenths of an ounce. But it's fine. You just want gold, and you don't want this jewelry. You get really fucked on. As far as if you want value of gold, you buy coins. That's it. You do not fuck around. Jewelry is nice and pretty, but not if you're trying to get gold for gold value. You don't buy jewelry. You buy the coins. I just sold my wedding ring, and it was a joke. I mean, if I would have just bought an ounce of gold instead of the ring, I would have went from $200 to well, it wasn't an ounce; it was like a half ounce or something. I don't know, but I got $280, and if I had had a coin, it would have been at least $1,000. Let's say. I don't remember what the weight is. Anyway. That's it. So you want to buy gold and silver coins, not stock, not ETFs. ETFs are not real. Stocks are going to go up, but the whole stock market's collapsing, and the gold stocks will also collapse because people will need money. They'll just sell all their stocks. So you don't want to be in the market right now. However, you can buy gold stocks once it's collapsed because the value of the gold will go through the roof, which will move the stocks up. So get out of Amazon and Microsoft and all that shit. It's all collapsing. It's being held up by the Fed. It's not even real supply demand. We're going to print $1 billion and buy these stocks with it, no matter what. So people are getting hurt. They're not going to buy as much. Companies are going to start being hurt. They're going to lose. They're going to start losing value. Stocks will go down. And once this goes, and once that monopoly of COMEX goes, and gold and silver run, what happens to the stock market? It goes to zero because you've got 500 grand. Where do I put my money? Well, everybody puts it in the stock market. And you're not buying bonds with it. So you're in the stock market. Some people have chosen Bitcoin, which is stupid. And nobody's really choosing gold and silver. A few of us. And then, so we're buying the most undervalued thing in the world, which is silver right now. Then as the gold goes up, once Russia makes it and gets rid of the COMEX and the gold, silver go up, people will get out of the stock market because they'll go, fuck, I can make more money in gold and silver. Look how cheap silver is. Silver is like buying Microsoft at $20 a share. And it's a $200 company. So they're all going to run into gold and silver. Market crashes, Bitcoin crashes, and then gold and silver go through the roof. We buy an island somewhere in the Caribbean and have a good day. How much was gold the year you got married? I don't know 1990. I know 1995, it was $250 an ounce. So let's go with $250 an ounce in 1990. So yeah, instead of buying baseball cards, now it's an ironic twist. I got the cards in the divorce, and I thought, oh shit, I'd rather have the gold. But then I pull out the mantle and the ore and the Montana rookie and the Rice rookie, and I'm like, these are all worth $100,000. Maybe I did okay with the cards based on PSA 10s. So if they are PSA 10s, but I would have wanted much more gold. But now when I got married, I didn't know as much. But when I got my master's in 95, you see what I did. I got gold when I got out of my master's. So at 250, I should have been buying ounces. Although when I got divorced, I would have lost half of it in the divorce settlement. So I don't know. Maybe I did better with the cards, but I got a lot of cards. But I should have bought a lot more gold. Yeah, think points. You need to get some kangaroos and Krugerrands. She's in India. You guys don't make gold in India. Yeah, the kangaroos are Australian and the Krugerrands are South African. Where the maple leaves, there's British. You can probably buy British coins. But yeah, buy silver. You should definitely go buy as much silver as you can afford. So you asked me what I did. So what do you do? 5 points that you're think points that you're asking me. Don't worry what I do. I make you money is what I do. I was watching Other People's Money again with Danny DeVito, and he buys this stock because of the book value being higher than the market value. So the book value, so if he went in and sold all the assets, it was at least It was like $1 million, like $25 per share, and the stock was selling for 10 because it was an obsolete company. But I guess the material, the machinery could be used other places. So they're all knocking him for trying to do this corporate takeover to buy the company to sell it for parts. And he says, I'm not the enemy. I'm not your friend. I'm your only friend. I'm going to make you money. And the guy running the place is losing you money because the stock's down to 10. He's not doing a good job managing it. It was just so apropos. Well, I'll give you a better one. I had a bar mitzvah when I was 13. So 13 and 1972. And I don't know. I think you could just start buying gold at $35 an ounce. And I got, let's say, conservatively, let's say $3,000, let's say $3,500 for my bar mitzvah in gifts, right? Everybody would come and they have the party and they give you cash and checks. So let's say conservatively, I got $3,500 in 1972 money. So that's huge. And had I bought gold at 35 an ounce, I would have had 100 ounces of gold at $35 an ounce. God knows what silver was, probably $1. It was probably the $1 on it I probably could have got. I know if I went to Vegas and you just hit a jackpot and the slot machine, it paid out in silver. It's silver dollars. I could have went to Vegas just to get the slot payouts and pay her. I'll take your silver dollars for you. Or you could have just asked for 100 silver dollars and gotten them at $1 a piece, I think. So let's say, so I could have bought at least 100 ounces of gold at $35 an ounce in 1972. Now we can cry, Bobby. So 100 times 2,000 is how much? That would have given me, add 2 zeros to 2,000 is $200,000 at these prices. Oh, well. See, now if I had a time machine, I'd go back and the fact was my money got stolen by my father. He took the money to pay. He said, I need to pay for the party. And I'm like, excuse me? I had it hidden in my drawer. I go back. So the bar mitzvah Saturday, on Monday, I'm going to take it to the bank, and I go, and there's nothing in the drawer. And he says, well, I took it to pay for the party. And me and my dad didn't talk much after that. So this is where you get trust issues, right? Your dad steals your money that instead of taking me to buy gold coins or silver coins, he steals it to pay for a party. That wasn't his money to take. If you're going to throw a party, how many people throw a party and go, well, we'll get gifts and we're going to take the gifts to pay for the party? Who does that? Are you kidding me? No, I'm going to steal I'm going to take all the gifts and take it. Anyway, you can see my problems, right? So I would have bought 100 ounces of gold easy. I think in 72 you could buy gold. I know Nixon took us off in 71, but I do know you couldn't buy gold before then. Well, I think there was a black market or underground, and I think that's where we're headed. If these idiots try this central bank digital currency, there'll be a whole underground economy. Oh, you want beer, you want ribs and burgers, and I guarantee you there'll be places that you can buy them from and give them the silver and use it that way and just keep going on. I think that's where we're headed. Or take the silver to a farm and walk away with a bunch of chickens and pieces of cows and like a quarter ounce is going to buy you a side of beef, and you'll have to lug that home. I don't know. This can't be worth anything. Holy shit, you would have 10 times your coins. I would have had another 100 ounces to go with my 50 ounces. God knows what I would have done with silver. I mean, Jesus Christ. And then as I was growing up, I started working when I was 16 at the grocery store. And then I would win all this money betting football. I remember I bought the first VCR was $1,000. It was a big, heavy thing. Think of all the gold and silver I could have bought with $1,000, winning it on football games and buying gold with it. See, this is the problem. They don't educate you, which is why I'm doing this. They don't educate you to buy gold and silver, so you don't buy it. You spend your money on, enjoyable stuff, but not. In other words, Bobby should buy silver and then still have his beer, and maybe have one less beer and buy one more ounce of silver with it, or other things. Or instead of going to Hawaii, you buy 5 ounces of gold, and you go to San Diego or something like that. So you spend your money differently, and then that's what you do. We're coming in late in the game. Gold's already 1,900. We could have got it at, like when I bought this, it was $2.50 an ounce in the 90s. So I could have still in the 90s taken the money and bought a bunch of gold at $2.50 an ounce. So the key is understanding that now the money was being inflated since 1971. When Nixon took us off the gold standard, the money was already being inflated. Now they thought they solved it, but they really didn't solve anything in 1980. They made it look like it was solved when rates went up to 20%. People put their money back into the banks. Well, nobody's putting their money back into the bank. But they're not even getting 5%. The Fed's 5%, but the banks are still 1%. The banks have not gone to 5% because all their money they've loaned out and bought bonds is only getting 1 and 2%. So they can't give you 5% at the bank because their money's already out at 2%. So how can they give you 5 and only get 2? That's reversed. The way a bank works, they give you 2% for your money. You give them 50,000, they give you 2% interest. Big fucking deal. And then they loan your money out for 5%. Well, here they'd actually be giving you 5% and getting 2% because they bought bonds with it. This is why the banks are collapsing. They're totally mismanaged by idiots. Now, is this part of the plan? I don't know. That these bankers are idiots? Is that part of the plan? I have no idea. All I know is I don't want anything to do with the plan. I am avoiding the plan like the plague. So that's what we're up against. And these people are so stupid. I don't see how this plan's going to work. This reset and all. I mean, they can say what they want, but everybody thought Philadelphia was going to win the Super Bowl. It's part of the plan. Oops, Kansas City won. Oops, Mahomes. It doesn't. There's no fucking plan that's going to work. That just yes, it worked. I mean, it's just not. It's not going to happen. So, they can say it. I got a friend down in Alabama, and he's all worried about the central bank digital currency. He sends me this video, and I go, "This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. There's no way this is going to work." So they're going to control you. So if you go more than a mile from your house, and it's going to be lockdowns. I said, "This is the stupidest thing. I got to go to the grocery store. It's 5 miles away. I can't go get food. Really? Oh, and I'm going to just listen to this." I mean, it's the whole concept is clearly they don't understand economics and markets. How will the grocery stores survive? Oh, then what are we supposed to do? All die? Well, that's a great plan. Yeah, you're going to control a bunch of dead people. I mean, the whole thing's so stupid. You can't get away from the market. It's been since the Romans. You've had a market, the Appian Way. Whatever you want to call it, there's always markets. There's always grocery stores. We're eating, we're traveling, we want to go to restaurants. What are you going to do? Get rid of all that? Oh, really? And everybody and Kroger's is just going to say, "Oh, that's fine. We don't care if we got a business." And GM and all the banks. You think all the banks are going to go out of business? No fucking way. too many people have to say, yeah, that's fine. And I don't know there's that much mafia in the world to control all these people to make them an offer they can't refuse, and then they just sit there and they uh, bend over and take it. You're going out of business. So you think Kroger's wants to stop making billions of dollars, and J.P. Morgan, you really think he's going to stop? Mr. Monopoly? It's no fucking way that's going to happen. So I know it won't happen in the U.S. This was supposedly in the U.K., but who knows in the U.K. Europe's kind of weird, very socialist in the U.K. I noticed the French were having another revolt against the energy prices and all the war in the Ukraine. All France does is protest, but they keep electing idiots. If you watch Les Miserables, it was about the French Revolution, and they were poor, and then you had the French in World War II. They didn't want to fight. They never want to fight, but then they lose their country, and then they protest the Germans. Like, really? The French have serious problems anyway, but keep that in mind. So we will see. So tournament Thursday. Tomorrow we'll get the lines and start looking at the games. Football, we'll look at that. Anything on poker, anybody? I didn't play. Again, it's all economics. It's reading people. It's supply and demand. It's the market. How is he reacting to the market? It's funny how everything goes back to the market, to economics. Everything. It's all about competition. It's all about substituting goods. You don't like this girl, you go to the competition as another girl. It's amazing how that works. Or vice versa. The girl doesn't like the guy, go to the other guy. So it works in every situation. Does he have the hand or not? And is it worth it for me to call his $200 bet? Is it worth it or not? It probably isn't worth it in most cases. If he's bluffing you, let him bluff you. But if you are a very strong player, he's probably not bluffing you. Nobody probably bluffs me because they know I'm a very good player and I'm reading them. And, if I bet $50 and you make it 200, I would bet anybody anything they want. He's not bluffing me because he sees how strong I am and he doubts I'm in it without a hand because when I have shit, I throw it out. So he thinks he knows me, how I play. So if I'm putting in $50, I got a hand. How are you bluffing somebody that has a hand? You're not. So it means you've got a hand. So I very rarely, somebody comes at me 200 or all in, they're bluffing. I doubt they're bluffing. And I look at that one guy. Hey, he had a higher flush. He wasn't bluffing. I thought he had trips, but he wasn't bluffing. I mean, you're not bluffing somebody like me who's smart and reads. Believe me. Anything on INFJ, Bobby? You're reading people or anything? You got the family in silver, Bobby, or are they still arguing with you? Anyway, so I chipped my tooth. So I called my dentist today to go on in and let him, fill the chip. And he's retired. He's 70 years old. I called the office and they say he's retired. If you want to come in, it's $175 and we'll look at it and we'll give you an x-ray. And I told him to fuck off. I said, $175. I just want him to fill it in. But since it's not my dentist, I says, I don't have insurance. I said, there's no way I'm going through that. So I call him up. I have his cell number because he's a Michigan football, and he would take me to Michigan games. So he gave me his cell. So I call him. I said, "What? You can't retire?" He says, "I'm 70." I said, "I don't. That's too young." So I says, "Where can I go?" And he says, "Well, I can't really tell you." And then I called a friend here, and she told me her dentist. So I ended up calling her dentist, and it's $85 to take a look at it, and then hopefully I think they can just put the white stuff on it and fill it in. That's what I'm hoping for, but I don't know. It cracked a little bit, so I might need a crown. I hope I don't need a crown, or they can do something. And anyway, 175 just to look at it. And then to go to work on it, I'm like, screw you guys. I said, I'm very disappointed. I says, I was with the dentist for 25 years. This is the problem when you sell your practice. I go to him. I trust him. He gives me price breaks. He takes care of me. I don't have insurance. He doesn't gouge me. How do you buy a practice? So you buy this guy's practice, you're buying his customers, but you've got to understand the market. The market is, I used to go to this grocery store. I can't think of the name of it. And then Kroger's bought them, and Kroger's moved in, and then I stopped going because I don't like Kroger's. So you can't, this is my point, when you buy somebody else's practice, nobody could take over Teaserking because you're buying my picks. And if I'm not giving you the picks, you're not buying, you don't want the next guy. I could never sell this practice because you'd be an idiot to buy it because you would never, nobody would stick around. Just as Bobby's saying, you're going to learn a lot in the class. If somebody else is teaching it, you're not here. And I get that. And that's the point. Like, so when I was working and this little company was buying other companies, and he was buying the thing about buying the company, but the owner had all his buddies buying these little rollers and conveyor bullshits. And so I go to the CFO after he lets me go. He says, well, you'll be out of business soon because they just buy because they're all his friends. They're not going to buy from you. You're an idiot. Why would you even think like this? So, I mean, I am warning the guy. They won't even be open. And that's the thing. So you're buying the dentist. You got to be out of your mind. You build up a trust with the doctor and the dentist. So if the dentist is gone, you're not going to Joe Blow. You're finding a new dentist that you can trust. You might go there once, but if you don't like him, and even my dentist said he's very expensive, I wouldn't go to him. And I'm like, I'm not going to go to him either. So I found that hopefully this other dentist can do what he did. And then the best way is just to ask your friends, do you like your dentist? Are they affordable? Now, I don't have insurance, so I expect a price break of I don't have insurance. Not this is what we charge if you have insurance or not. And I'll just keep looking for a dentist that does that. Bobby, I was talking to my dad, and he told me that some guy he knows was telling him about gold. Okay, so did your dad buy gold or silver? And did he like, oh, yes, I like gold, and he liked gold, and now he's going to buy gold? But when you tell him about it, he doesn't listen to you? I love that. So Bobby tells his dad to buy gold and silver, and the dad goes, eh. Then his friend tells him to buy gold, and now what, he's going to go buy it. I mean, I talked to the communist in the hot tub for a minute the other day. He kept prodding me with questions like, yes or no. Oh, you normally sit over there. And I said, yeah, like, how am I going to ignore him? So this guy's dying to talk to me. He obviously wants to learn. He doesn't understand. I don't need him as a friend. I don't want a communist as a friend, or at least I don't want a person that says I'm a communist, right? So I was telling him about the gold, and he says to me, well, do you think I'm going to take you at point value? Like, because you say it, I'm just going to agree with you. And I says, absolutely. If you're smart, you would understand what I'm telling you is the truth. And you're being taught by a professional that you should do it. That's what you're missing. You have doubt that you don't want to trust anybody. And so when somebody gives you the golden goose, you don't want it. That's your own problem, but go check it out. But nobody's going to tell you to buy gold and silver that you can check out. Where are you going to check that out? Where are you going to see gold's good, Bitcoin's bad, get out of the stock market, and the dollar's going to collapse? Where are you going to learn that from? You can't. It's not taught anywhere but here. So you don't learn it. What the fuck are you going to do with it? So what I'm teaching is not something you can just look at. And, when I talk to you about the diet and fasting, what do I hear on commercials? Oh, no, you don't want to fast. You want to have this breakfast. You want to eat this shit. So they're telling you the wrong stuff on purpose, because that's where it's about making money. So they're not going to tell you about gold. They're going to tell you, well, if you want gold, buy an ETF. There's no gold in it. You're going to go broke because you'll never get the physical gold, and the ETF's going to go to zero. You'll get fucked. You've got to own the physical. Who's going to tell you that besides me? And so, Bobby, are you yeah, this class would not be the same if it was taught by someone else. We need the professor. Well, exactly. But my qualifications and my background, so you trust me, right? You see the master's in Austrian economics and corporate finance, but I can explain it, and I do the football too. So I can explain it, and you go, yes, I get it. And everything I tell you is absolutely real, because I'm not selling you anything. And that's why I don't know why people why would you buy the dental practice when you know nobody's going to stay? Because I'm there for the dentist. The dentist is my buddy. He takes me to Michigan football games. He leaves, and you want to charge me $175 on our first date? So the first time I'm going to go in your office, I don't know if you're any good, and your prices seem high right off the bat. He would never do that. I would come in, and he would say, okay, I won't charge you for the x-rays. It'll be $100 because prices have gone up. But he wouldn't even do that. He would see that it's chipped. He'd come in and he'd fill it up. You'd go $100, and that would take care of it. And I trusted if he said that's what you need. So it's this trust factor that you must have. But if the first meet is $175, then I don't trust you. I don't know you to give you $175 for you to look at my mouth and then say you need a crown. Well, no, I don't need a crown. Maybe if my real doctor would have said I needed a crown, okay, and then he'd give it to me for $500. You're not even doing that. You're saying $175 just to look at your mouth. Well, fuck that. So what was the verdict with your dad, Bobby? Is he now buying gold and silver, or does he not want to listen to you, but he listens to some guy in the bar going, yeah, well, let's buy gold and silver. And the guy goes, oh, and your dad goes, yeah, that's a good idea. My son's been telling me that. He learns it from some guy, but I don't trust them. But the guy at the bar, I'm going to go buy gold and silver now. I trust him. But it's funny how I told you 9/11 was a gold robbery. How many people actually believed it? Yet I showed you the video on YouTube. 9/11 was a gold robbery, and now there's a Tubi. 9/11 was a demolition, and all the engineers say it clearly show that it was. This is the problem. So because I'm an INFJ, I don't trust the government at all, because they've lied about Kennedy and they lied about going to the moon and 9/11. And so anything, once an INFJ gets lied to, I don't trust them at all. And so I don't trust a lot of people. And so when a girl says, give me, oh, you want to date me? These girls online, oh, you want to date me? Well, send me $200. Why? And then it's, well, send me $200 and well, send me a picture. No, I can't do that, but my manager will talk to you. Well, why don't the manager talk to me now and let's set it up like normal? Oh, I can't send you a picture. Yeah, okay. Good luck scamming somebody else. Say I automatically go to defensive and say, yeah, you're scamming me, because it's not worth it. It's not worth the risk to give her $200 and then she's not real anyway. So you keep running it, especially on Twitter and Instagram. I don't think any of the girls are real. And if they can't give you a call or a Skype or a Teams and say, look, it's really me, like my girlfriend in Russia, she sent me pictures. They were eating pizza. So she sends me, she says, me and my daughter are out for pizza in Russia, right? So they're not being bombed, so she can do that. So she sent me pictures. I said, well, she doesn't look all that happy. Like she doesn't have a big smile on her face. Why isn't she sending me pictures with the smile on her face? So I sent her $50 as a get happy. So I sent the daughter a PayPal for $50. I said, go buy what you want. I want to see you happy. And she was thrilled with it. But I knew that was her. And I'm waiting to date her when I can get to fucking Russia. Bobby, were you working out, Bobby? He sounded like he was interested in gold. Oh, no. Do you want me to? I'll be happy to talk to him. Have him come on the show once, and I will talk to him. Tell him it's not a chance. Tell him the way you got to explain it to him is holding this is the risk. This is going to zero. That's what inflation is the value of the dollar being devalued to zero. His risk is staying in this, not gold and silver is not a risk. It's you're trading 2,000 of these for an ounce of gold or 25 of these for an ounce of silver. It's not a risk. You're doing a trade. And then you got to explain the monopoly that JP Morgan runs the COMEX and the Russian BRICS countries are coming out with dollars that are going to be backed by gold, which is going to blow the gold through the roof. And you can't lose. That's what you got to tell him. His risk is in US dollars. Even though I don't, because gold's not a risk at all. I think he likes gold, but don't know about coin stores. Is he also in Tampa or is he in Texas or some other city? And I can see being older, the older people tend to be the depression and they saw what happened and they are very tight with their money. They won't take risks. I understand that. Well, he can buy it online. He doesn't have to buy it at a coin store. Give him JM Bullion or give him my guy. I told him that silver is the other options he can buy more, but he didn't seem to be interested in the silver part for some because he doesn't understand. See, this is exactly the problem we have, Bobby. It's just like your dad. He doesn't get it. And there's no way the only way you can explain it is the way I do, which that it is money and it was money in the Roman days and it is money now and it's cheap because of COMEX. And really the whole thing's breaking up COMEX. And everybody will say, well, silver doesn't have a value. It's only worth $25. That's all they see. They don't understand the COMEX and they don't understand BRICS breaking it up. And that's really the problem. So, but the biggest, they don't understand money. They don't understand it used to take 35 to buy the ounce of gold, takes 2,000. Maybe try explaining that to him like that. Dad, it used to take $35 for an ounce of gold, now takes 2,000. It ain't the ounce of gold that went up in value. It's the money that goes down in value because they value gold and money. Maybe that will open his eyes up and then just tell him to go on JM Bullion or call my coin store and say, it was recommended and he wants to buy some gold or he wants to buy silver, but he can't use the credit card on there. He'll have to send a check or cashier's check or something. I could because they knew me, but they don't know you unless you just tell them you're friends with the professor and then maybe they'll let you do it. Or call me and I can go down there and say, yeah, you can trust them, but I don't know. But anyway, that's the problem is most people are afraid. And so JP Morgan has it right by the balls, right? You're not going to, people are too scared to get out of money. They know what money is. They don't understand money is losing value. They don't understand inflation. They think it's increasing prices. And therefore, they're scared to get out of dollars to hold gold or silver. So you go to your dad and you say, well, Dad, how about a Rolex watch? You must know about those. Say, buy a Rolex watch then. It's the same thing. It'll go up in value, and he can go sell it wherever you would sell a Rolex watch. But you know what, Dad? Let's buy money, and gold and silver are money. They're real money. This is not money. This is currency. This is fiat. This is paper that's fucking printed up, and it's not real, and it has no value. And then let's hear what he has to say. I think the best way to talk to him is this will have no value. Take out $1 and rip it up and say, this is the value of the dollar. And then let's see what he says. Now we're down to this. Pretty soon it's going to be, you'll just see the one. That's what you have, is this has no value. And therefore, without value, why would you hold dollars? I mean, you hold enough to have the expense, but what's going to happen is when the trust goes away and the businesses won't want it. Like right now, Ford and GM will still take it. But what happens when they wake up and they go, well, fuck, we don't want to be in the dollars either. It's losing value. Once people wake up and realize there's no value to it, and that's happening sooner than later, so all of Europe understand it, and they're going to start getting out of dollars. Russia and China and Japan understand it. They're not buying the treasuries. Well, Russia can't, but China and Japan, that's when you see, they're not buying the bonds because they are now saying they got to get the fuck out of the dollar. But in the U.S., since we can go to the grocery store and buy groceries with it, we don't see that it's losing the value. And the grocery stores keep taking it. And then once the stores stop taking the money, you can see now they don't want the money. They don't want debit and credit card. Okay, fine. I don't care. A debit card is the same thing as money. It's just I don't have to carry $500 to go to the store. I can use my debit card to go to the store. I think we already read that one. You know what I do once in a while to get somebody into it is I actually give them a silver dollar. I gave this girl a silver dollar. She was having a baby, but she's my buddy. She's one of the lifeguards. And I gave her, she's having a baby. I gave her 1 ounce of silver. She loved it. I mean, they love it. When they get it, they love it. They understand what it is. They won't buy it, but when it hits $2,000 an ounce, they'll be mighty happy I gave it to them. And so I tend to do that. Well, I give it to Jenna in the Ukraine. She loves it. She knows what it is. She knows it's money. The Ukrainians and the Russians, believe me, you give them gold and silver, they know what it is. They get that, right? And so give your dad a 1 ounce of silver and then look at his, then we'll see what happens. And that's all you need. And then he'll get hooked on it. Yeah, I'd like to get 10 more of these. And then like you, I'm going to buy more Krugerrands and just fucking buy 100 of them already. Stop dicking around. You keep playing with fire, Bobby, because soon they're not going to be 25 for much longer. And you're going to go, fuck, I wish I would have bought like 100 more ounces, because you don't get it. Once it goes and it's 1,000, it's 2,000, it's 3,000. You're going to kill yourself because you're going to be so upset at yourself going, fuck, they were 25. I could have bought more. That's the problem. It's you beating yourself up. Even me, I'm up close to 500 ounces and I will still be upset going, I could have bought another 100 ounces. I could have went in and bought another 40. So that's, I think, the bigger problem you're going to have to avoid is just being pissed at yourself for not getting another 500 ounces or whatever. You going to the coin store this week? Yeah, I'm sure I will. Once I did my unemployment today, I should get the money, let's just say Wednesday. That'll get me another 20 ounces of silver, or maybe the 1/4 ounce of gold, but I gotta help Jenna in the Ukraine with some more money and a credit card. So I need I can't spend it all. But I told her every 2 weeks I'll get it. So as we get into the mold, and then I get the extra money for the month with the Social Security, that doesn't count all the savings and gold I have. That's the bridge until the gold goes to the moon. So I'm really close to my retirement. My retirement official. Like right now, it's fake. And it's retirement that gets me through till the gold and silver go to the moon. That's the retirement. So I'd love for you to get at least quarter ounces, Bobby, at 500. I don't think that's too much, and you need some gold, and then keep pounding away 20 ounces of silver at $500. Again, you're just trading your dollars for the silver and the gold. You're not spending. It's not like you're going on vacation. You're not going to Vegas and spending $3,000 that you never get back. You're spending $3,000 on gold and silver. That's going to make you 50 times what you bought it for. Have another interesting. Shoot away, Bobby. What do you got for me? Let's see. I was just here checking out different coins, but wonder what's the difference between rounds and coins. The coin, as I showed you, if I got my gold, would say a 1 ounce US gold coin is money is worth $50. I believe the Philharmonic's worth 100 euros. The Maple Leafs worth 50 Canadian or whatever. So they're actual money, but we don't want them for the money. We want them for the ounce of gold. The rounds are, you don't see it as much in gold, but rounds, silver rounds, are you buying it for the ounce? So what you're saying is, I know silver is going to go up. I want to buy silver. Well, what are you going to buy? You've got to buy something that actually says this is 999 silver with its 10 ounces, right? I do have that 10 ounce bar I've shown you. So what you really want is something that says so that it's silver, because if you're trying to sell it, you have to prove to the buyer that it's actually silver. So you want something that says 9999 silver, 1 ounce. That you're buying the actual silver. Silver goes to 1,000 an ounce. I got an ounce of silver. It's worth $1,000. You're not selling the $1 American Silver Eagle for $1. It's worth $1. It's money, but you don't want to get $1 for it if it's worth 1,000. Even now it's worth 25. You don't want $1 for it. You'd want the 25. So what you want is the actual silver, and you don't know how else to get it besides the round, because the round will tell you how much that it is pure silver and that what's the weight of it, because that's how it's valued in ounces. An ounce, $1,000, right? An ounce of gold, $2,000. So if it says an ounce of gold on it, 999 is pure. You can sell it, right? It's like PSA 10. So I got this Jordan card, but is it a PSA 10? I'm not going to get the same value. But if it says it's in a container, it says PSA 10, I'm going to get $250 for it, because it's a PSA 10 card. That, I guess, matters to people versus PSA 9 versus CSA 10 versus just a card like that. I'd probably get maybe $10 for that card, but if it was a 10, I'd get $250. Do you go to any chicken wing places out there? No, Bobby, I'm not a chicken wing guy. I'll either get Chinese with General Chow, which I show you, or I'll go and I'll cook chicken breast or chicken thighs. I'll barbecue them myself because I want to eat healthy, and it's so much cheaper. You go to these restaurants, I'm like avoiding because, I'll get the half barbecue chicken breast at my barbecue place. So I'll get, let's say I just wanted chicken. I'll get a half a chicken barbecue. It'll have a wing, a leg, a thigh, and a breast. It comes as a half. So that's what I'll get. Or the chicken General Chow at Chinese. But if I went to like a Coney Island, I would probably, like I went last week, I got a hamburger. The chicken doesn't taste very well. That's not a place to go get chicken. Italian, I'll get chicken Parmesan or chicken cacciatore or something, which is just a chicken breast marinated and spaghetti and all that, carbs and stuff. So I tend not to, but there is a Buffalo Wild Wings, but I'm not into that. I think it's expensive, and my problem is I'm a good cook, so I can go to my grocery store, buy a whole, I don't know, for $6-7, get big chicken breast or wings or legs, probably legs or thigh. If I don't get breast, I get the thighs, and I'll get that for $6-7, and I'll cook up dinner for 3 days, and I'll do it that way where I'll cook myself, and it's much cheaper. So I have a bigger thought for finance. If I can spend $8 instead of 20, it's not cheap and it's not healthy to eat out as much. When I'm with the girls, we'll eat out, and I'll get chicken and burgers and stuff like that. That's a different story when they're here to do that. But I myself, I don't mind cooking, and then I know I'm healthier that way. So Buffalo rounds are not money, but still worth it. Not money in the sense of it's money can be used as money, but it's not that it's worth it. That's how you're buying an ounce of silver, right? You buy a Buffalo round, you're buying an ounce of silver. That's what it is. Because what is the value? It's an ounce of silver is worth $25. An ounce of silver, let's say it goes up, is worth $1,000. It's the ounce of silver. It's not the silver coin. The silver coin's value is $1. Well, it's not like that's going to jump to 1,000. It's the fact that it's an ounce of silver. I own the Highland Mint coins. I got 37 ounces of that. So I got a Joe Montana ounce. I got a Barry Sanders, Emmett Smith, Jerry Rice ounce of silver. Well, it's not, that isn't worth as much, but it's also 1 ounce of silver. So that makes the value go higher on these Highland Mint coins because of the ounce of silver. So really what you're buying is the ounce of the metal silver, like you would buy an ounce of gold. There's not as much bullion out there, but it's still, it's still fine that even though it's not the ounce of, it's not the bullion, it's you're buying the metal. So think of it in terms like that. So that's what you're buying. I just didn't need to walk on my foot. Buffalo rounds are an ounce of silver. As long as it says 1 ounce of silver, $9.99 on it, it's worth it. No matter what it is. It could be a bar. It doesn't have to be a round. Which burger place? I don't know, more to a Coney Island, but I used to go to like Wendy's and get a chili and a baked potato and a burger, but I don't, since I've been heavy on this lifestyle change, diet change, I haven't been there because I don't want the bun. So I'm really not, plus they're so expensive, like Five Guys and Fries. It's like $8-9 for their little burgers. I go, fuck it. I can go get a whole pound of burgers for $5 at the high-end grocery store. So why would I go to Five Guys and Fries or Wendy's? But that's where I used to go. Or the Coney Island, I could get a burger there, or those little coffee shops. I'll tend to get a burger and a salad. Bobby, do they have a Five Guys or something out there? Yes, they do. It's close to my house, but they're expensive. And then I really don't want the fries, so it ends up where you get a burger for $6-7 and fries are like $4. You're at $11 for a burger and fries. I don't want the fries. It's fried food. That's not healthy, number one. And then number two, it's expensive. What's funny is if I go to the barbecue place, if I was to go to the barbecue place and get a hamburger. It's like $6, and you get the hamburger, you get the coleslaw and the fries or the baked potato, or exchange the salad for it. And it's a big fucking burger. So you can really, I'd rather go there than Wendy's, right? Because it comes with the coleslaw and the potato and the burger. So it's really a good place to probably get that is at the barbecue place. They even have nice steaks there. They have fish, but I've never gotten the fish at the barbecue place. Seems like probably shouldn't be on the menu. And then the steaks, I don't know if they should be on the menu, but I once in a while get a steak at but if I'm going to the barbecue place, I'm there for the ribs or the barbecue chicken. I'm not really there for a steak. That I cook on my own. If I go to Morton's, it's $70 for a fucking steak that they burn or they cook it. And the baked potatoes a la carte or the salad. And it's like, all right, this is like you go on a heavy date with, you're going to propose or something, but just to go to a regular Friday night, I'm not going to Morton's for a steak or shula or any of those, spend $100, because in my mind, I'd rather buy 4 ounces of silver. See, that's how it starts working. I go, how much is dinner? It's 4 ounces of silver. It's 2 ounces of silver. When I go to the barbecue place, it's 1 ounce of silver. Well, that's fine. But if I had to pay 4 ounces of silver for dinner, I'd rather have the 4 ounces of silver and use one for dinner and get the other 3. That's how I think. And under the circumstances, how you need to think now, only because silver's so cheap and it's going up. Now, once silver goes up, you don't think like that. Plus, it's worth a whole lot more money, so you don't need to. But that's how I think. You still go to Vegas, but when I bet football, I probably bet a little bit less because I go, well, or when I go play poker, for example, I'm like, well, I'm going to risk 300. I'm risking 12 ounces of silver, or let's say 10 ounces of silver. Maybe I shouldn't play because I know I'm going to make money on the 10 ounces of silver. Poker, I could lose, right? The guy catches a higher flush, I lose. So you think about all that because you're just trying to be smart going, I don't have enough silver. And in your shoes, Bobby, you're going to have, Dad's going to want, you're going to have to help him with silver, and your family, they're going to want help. So you got to have extra silver around to help your family because they won't listen to you. In case I got 3 girlfriends to take care of, and they have kids. So I need to get extra for them. But that's why when I meet Jenna, I give her gold and silver. It's like, okay, I'm helping you now for the future. Like, so I don't need to help you, but I'd rather help you now while I can and just hold on to it. So she gets it. She knows. And when I tell her, okay, now you can trade it in, she will. But she knows not to spend it. So, yeah, I tend to go to the grocery store more. Now I go to the higher end meat one. I get a nice steak, $10, $11 a pound for New York or whatever he's got on sale. And that's what then I cook it myself. It's not hard to put it in the oven and marinate it and cook it. It tastes fine. It's meat. But I have a tendency to buy more roast because those are still like $4 or $5 a pound. You buy a nice 3-pound roast and cook, and you just bake it, 300 for an hour, and you've got 5 steaks because you got 3 pounds. So you got 6 half-pound hamburgers or steaks or whatever you want, much cheaper than buying steaks. So, I'll buy the New York strips or a sirloin or Delmonico. As a birthday and holidays when I'm not eating Chinese or the ribs and go. So you still treat yourself and reward yourself. Like now the unemployment kicks in with the Social Security. Now I'm like, beautiful. Now I'm fine. I'm making very close to what I would make, but then there's no taxes coming out. And I don't have to pay tax on Social Security. Unemployment, I will, but a very small amount because my income's going to show as zero. So I have that. As far as the banks, they're all fucked. I mean, don't kid yourself. Now, these were more of the investment banks where they're buying startups and internet, Bitcoin stuff. But I don't imagine any bank is really. Now, I find it hard to believe it's because the interest rates are going up. They're all caught short. I have a hard time believing that. I don't believe that's something else. But again, I believe the U.S. is breaking themselves on purpose. They can't be this stupid. So they are doing something on purpose here to kill their own economy, which makes the only way is because China's controlling it. I mean, it's in China and Russia's best interest if we shoot ourselves in the foot and kill our own economy. That's it. I don't know why else you would. These people can't be this stupid. Powell cannot be this stupid. He's ruining the economy. Now, I don't know if they're going to raise the rates next week to 0.25% and then stop and then start reversing to save the banks. I don't know if he's going to do that. But these bailouts are a joke because it's trillions of dollars that they just print. And it's like that's the end of it. I don't know at what point do you think inflation's not going to go hyper? We're $21 trillion of money supply printed. Forget the debt at 32 trillion. You print another 10 trillion to save the banks, or another 2 trillion to save the banks, and we're giving Ukraine money because we don't want to fight the war. We're gonna give Ukraine the weapons to pull the triggers, and they're the ones dying. But oops, that's too bad. I think Ukraine's running out of people. Russia's, you think, it's running out of people. Everybody's fleeing. I don't know who's fighting for Russia because all the war year guys have fled the country saying we're not going to war to fight against the Ukraine. That's bullshit. So we'll see what's really going to happen. It's just, at the end of the day, I don't know this control. I don't know where you would come up with this control. You control people far easier with money than you will making us all slaves. How long? How's that going to go? Until we rebel and we all go underground and all that shit. I mean, how long do you think that's gonna last? And you can't force people to buy electric cars or to go on central bank digital currency and everything. So that's the other reason, Bobby, is you gotta make sure you're out of the system, and you're not gonna want to leave your friends and family in the system either. So you need to buy enough that you and your dad and your family, your brothers and sisters and the kids are out of the system because you don't want them on the digital currency either. So that's where it gets a little tricky. Like for me, like I said, I got my girlfriends and then they have kids. So I got to have enough. I'm not going to leave them and let them die controlled. So we will see. But outside of that, that's why, as far as I'm concerned, I can go buy another 20 ounces of silver for $500. I'll do it all day. Now it'll be a little more because it's $22 an ounce today. So it'll be $26 or $27 for silver. Big whippy. And the guy at the coin store, like, that's his business, is to turn his inventory to pay rent. But it's got to be killing him knowing these are $2,000 an ounce coins I'm selling for $26. He's got to know that's what's happening. So I'm sure he's taking a chunk and putting them in his safe, but he still needs to pay the people. Oh, his people were on the what bank? The Silicon Valley Bank. So my buddy goes, well, we didn't get paid. I go, why not? We're a part of Silicon Valley Bank. I go, why the fuck would you guys be in Silicon Valley Bank? You're a fucking coin store in Detroit. Why wouldn't you be with Comerica or Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Chase, Citibank? Why wouldn't you be there? Why would you possibly be on Silicon Valley Bank? I never heard of it before. But why would I use it to pay my employees? It's beyond me. It's insane. But that's where they're at. And I'm basically, excuse me. And I'm basically just, I think all the banks are in trouble. Credit Suisse, I just read, was, I think, bought out by UCB or a big bank. I think that's a German bank or something. So they're being bought out. So I think they're right now congregating on having these huge banks. So you're getting ready. You got rid of the mom and pop stores with the COVID, and now you're getting rid of the banks with the mom and pop banks. Although I don't know they're mom and pop, but the smaller banks, and it's all going to J.P. Morgan, Citibank, Wells Fargo. So that's where it's going to end. Well, I assume that's where it's going to end. They'll control it. That's why I don't see there'll be a digital currency in the U.S. In some China, well, for them to be controlled, that's probably a relief for them. They have this facial recognition, so you pay with your face. How would you like that? You got to be kidding me. And then how do you pay people that are like, you go to the casino, you want to tip the waitress. How do you tip the girl bought you a drink? How do you tip her? What's your digital code? I'll send you $1 onto the digital code. I mean, how do you cash your chips in? So you're playing poker, you buy $1,000 worth of chips. Okay, you won. How do I get money for? Oh, well, we'll put it on your digital currency. Or can you go? Can you go to the casino? This is my point. They're trying to say you're limited to just going 2 miles from your house. Well, how do you go to the casino and the restaurants, to your girlfriends? How do you do all that if you're constrained? And this is, oh, wait, you're more than 2 miles from your house. You can't use your money. What the fuck is that? Why would they care? Why would they want to control you to stay in your house? What does that do? It doesn't help anybody. And then, oh, well, we need the money. That's why I'm saying that's why you're in gold and silver, or keep a bunch of money in your safe where they really can't, you can still use that money. So what else? So I don't think it'll come to America, but some of these other countries, maybe you'll have the digital currency. Hopefully this war ends in Russia and Ukraine already, but it's just the cost. It's just money being spent. And the whole thing is, let's say Russia wins, right? On the worst case, Russia wins. I'll still be able to go to Odessa. It'll just be part of Russia. Now, will Russia allow an American in is the question. That I don't know. This is what it behooves them to say, yes, we'll take your money, which is why you go to other countries in the first place. But that'll be an interesting question. So they take over Ukraine. I'll still be going to Odessa because it's a real nice place on the Black Sea. Good restaurants, was good people, good surroundings. So we will see. This will be curious. I mean, they're not going to blow it up. I mean, it's land. So they can fire rockets and then try to take it that way. But at the end of the day, you're just blowing up your own land. So this will be curious. I mean, you had World War II. Ukraine survived that. So I don't know. I don't know how Ukraine wins. I don't know how anybody wins, and I don't know what they're winning. It's the stupidest war I've ever seen in my life. That's how the liberals, Keynesians fight a war. We don't use our own men, and we don't end it, and we're not really fighting for anything. Oh, it's insane. So anyway, buy as much gold and silver as you can. You don't have an option, and it's not a risk. I don't know why people think it's a risk to own gold and silver. At what point is it a risk? Oh, you need money? Go back to the coin store and say, here's an ounce of silver, and the guy will happily take it and give you that. I see it all the time. I see gold. Where are you getting the cougar hands? Well, certainly they're not going to South Africa for them. People are bringing them in, and he's paying them off. So certainly he will buy your gold and silver and give you money for it. So you have no risk of, geez, nobody will want gold and silver. To think there's no demand for gold and silver, you're out of your mind. It's like saying there's no demand for milk and cookies. Like, really? So keep that in mind also. It's that's not realistic. I mean, there's always demand. Anyway, so what else? Don't know. Let me just check gold right now. I keep getting these from Cheapo Air about my trip to Spain. They watch, hear everything. Have to be very careful. YouTube is crazy like that. That's Nick saying, he emails me to be careful on there. But I don't know what I can. So apparently I can't go against the WHO. Fine, I don't need to say anything. I've talked about 9/11 before. I haven't gotten a warning. I swear I haven't gotten a warning. We talk gold and silver. We talk about monopoly of COMEX. So apparently those things are okay. It's weird how talking about one thing gets me, but the other things don't. And then apparently they look at your comments and some of your comments don't go through, which just is amazing. Anyway, we'll just keep going as we are. But anyway, so keep your eye. Again, gold and silver are not priced in reality. They're in COMEX, which is bullshit price fixing. So keep that in mind. You want to get away from, you want to understand that and realize you're going to make a fortune when it gets off of the price fixing, which is what the BRICS countries are doing. Hey, Greg and John. No freedom of speech against the system. Yeah, isn't that like this is supposed to be freedom of speech, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? And we're YouTube, wants to start enforcing that kind of stuff. Or not even YouTube, but just social media. Again, I don't want to get problems, but it's crazy. You can say X, but you can't say Y. I don't know. And then people are listening in. That's scary enough, but I don't even know. I'm reading like they're watching your phone or your monitor, like even when it's turned off, they're watching you. To me, it's like whatever. I do what I want. Yeah, you're watching me. I don't do anything wrong, so I'm not really worried about it. But yeah, it's I don't know how much more control they think they're going to give us when they already are trying to control us in the first place. I did hear this artificial intelligence is not what they're saying it is, what Musk says, that it'll never be like Terminator or anything like that. So keep that in mind. Um, Otherwise, just be careful. Just realize you're being watched, right? But as long as you keep it fine and you try to say the right things or try not to say the wrong things, you'll be fine. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a serious problem going on but we understand it. So we just tiptoe around it and wink, wink. We know what's going on. And, you know, as we say, go buy your gold and silver because that's how you avoid all this mess. So I see a black market will open up eventually. And who knows? I showed you a video where the Russian oligarchs, the mafia, the Chinese mafia, Chinese Communist Party, and the Italian mafia were laundering money in Italy and the banks and that. So, they'll do the same with gold. They'll do the same with money. If you don't think that's rampant all over here, believe me, it is. That's where you got to just realize what's going on. And any of these 9/11s or moon landings and any of this stuff, you got to realize is all phony. We took out bin Laden. It was a joke. I mean, he had nothing to do with it. Like I said, I think it was the Israelis. I think they're the ones who did the acts, and it was a gold robbery. But they won't come out and so they'll rather lie to you, and then everybody wants to believe it. It blows my mind how close-minded people are. And then you tell them to go buy gold to protect themselves. It'll save you, and they won't do that. They won't sit there and take care of themselves. It just blows your mind that you could tell them walk 5 steps and there's a pound of gold for you, and it'll be worth 100,000 an ounce. And they won't do it. And you're like, Jesus, okay. And you just feel sorry for these people that are so out of touch with reality. That's the problem. So I'm sitting in the hot tub. And I see this heavy guy, and I go to some guy sitting next to me. I go, this guy's got diabetes. Do I warn him? Do I tell him you have diabetes and you need to go on the diet, or do I ignore him because he doesn't want to hear? And that's my dilemma. I saw some guy who was really heavy in the sauna, and I kind of talked to him before. I don't even remember guys I talked to, right? So this heavy guy, and he says, "Oh, how's gold doing?" And I must have talked to you about gold. I says, "Well, we're waiting. It's going to go." And he was like way overweight, and I'm thinking, I know I told him about the diet, which he didn't listen to. So I'm not going to keep repeating myself. And keep in mind, I'm trying to help these people. This is not done. I don't get anything out of it, but helping the people. And I just don't understand it. I'm not charging anything for it. I'm trying to save your life. You got a young daughter who's 2 or 3 years old, who's coming up to you in the hot tub going, "Daddy, let's play." Don't you want to do it, if not for you, for her? Or you obviously have many problems because you're like 400 pounds, right? So you're eating your way around your disorders. And you would think you'd want to be healthy, but just amazing. You can't tell people to diet or to just to fast. Just, you know what? Don't eat 12 meals a day and don't eat M&Ms and Oreos. Oh no, that people can't do that. And then they go into the hospital, and then they start going, "Oh shit, I better diet." Well, you don't need to wait till that. Just, you know what it is, do it. So anyway, that's the problem. I think we covered everything. Any other questions, comments? We got gold at 1990. Let's see what it is now. Gold price today. $19.80. So it's up 360 at 1980. And you can see the bump from 10 a.m. You can see the 10 a.m. and then boom, there it goes. So we could make money just waiting for 10 o'clock to happen and then buy. Normally, I don't buy gold specific. You would buy a gold stock, Newmont Mining, NEM, and it's the same exact graph. So it'll at 10 o'clock go up. That's amazing because I looked at about 5 gold stocks, and as I was in them, I saw the same 10 o'clock thing. Then I went to gold and I saw the same. So they all, but it's not price fixed. It's worse than the NFL, I think. So that's what we have, 1980. So you can see, even though it's price fixed, it does move. It just add a zero to this is where it should be 19,800 is really what the gold price in the real world should be. Silver is 2253. In the real world, add 2 zeros, it's 2,200. That's probably the best way to look at it because that's really what it's at. Not this bullshit COMEX, JP Morgan. Oh, I don't want to. I want everybody in the dollar, so we won't tell them. Yeah, that's great. I don't know. People need to wake up, but I'm doing my part. Anything else that I can think of? So watch the banks. They will do not keep a lot of money in your bank. Keep 5,000-6,000. You want another 10 or 20 and you're safe, and then the rest in gold and silver. That's what I've done. I feel very safe and secure when these bank runs happen. I got a few thousand in the bank. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to get bailed out anyway. I'm not really worried about it because if I don't have the money, then I don't know how I pay my rent, right? Because their banks are out. So if their bank's out, how do I owe them? So we'll see. So I don't mind if Wells Fargo's goes out because I have one of my 0% credit cards there. So if they go out, I guess I don't owe them the credit card anymore. So we will see. But be careful with the banks. Do not be surprised. I think you'll see it turning around with the Fed starting to lower rates. I think they're going to raise this one and then go. The real thing that I understand is it takes 6 months. So if the Fed raises rates a 0.5% in January, you don't see it till July. Well, these guys are raising it every month. So there's going to be all this kickback in the next 4 or 5 months of all their little 0.75% increases. I mean, the economy is just going to go in. This isn't going to stop and go in reverse. It's going to be so fucked. Anyway, I got my freezer's full of meat and chicken, the frozen veggies, maybe some Cheerios in the shelves. But I don't know. I just don't think it's going to get that bad because I don't think that means the grocery stores aren't going to be in business anymore. And I can't imagine Costco and Sam's Club and Kroger's just giving up and saying, yeah, I guess you're right. We want Walmart. We won't sell anymore. I don't, they have power too. That's the thing. I don't believe they'll just go under. I think they'll fight and say, no, we're going to have groceries. And I just don't see how they'll all go along with it. And as you know, when you got 10 powerful, strong people, they're not going to be one. They're going to be 10 different things. So that's their whole problem with this whole little bullshit central bank digital currency is they're not going to go along with it. JP Morgan's never going to let that happen. You think they're going to give up their monopoly on printing money in the Federal Reserve? Because that basically ends the Federal Reserve. You think they're going to do that? There's no freaking way they're going to do that. And you think Warren Buffett now he's going to be out of a job because who's going to afford life insurance? I don't have money for it. they're not going to give me money I can't buy. You think he's going to just sit there and take that? No way. The rich guys aren't going to just sit there and go out of business, because that's basically what you're going to fuck with the market. And if you fuck with the market, you get burned. You can't ignore the market. We're the market. We want steak. You're going to have steak. We'll figure out if we have to go to the Russian mafia underground in Detroit to buy our steak. That's where we'll buy our steak. Here's silver. Give me the steak. And if you don't think that's going to happen, go back to the early 20s when they had the prohibition on alcohol, and you couldn't legally get alcohol, but yet Al Capone found a way to get it in through Canada, and there was alcohol, black market, underground, to have it. And that'll be for meat or anything else, gold and silver, whatever you want, you'll be able to get, because there's always mafia running things. So don't be naive. So I don't think things will get as bad as they want paint the picture. There's always a reason why, oh, look, there was terrorists at 9/11. We got to do this, that, and the other. No, it wasn't. It was planned demolition. So this is planned. This is all planned. And we know how plans with the government work. They don't. They never do. So just try to be smart. But get your gold and silver. It's that's your sure way out. And they're going to go way up in value. And I love how my dollars now, it's now even smaller. We're getting it. We're gonna cut this in half soon too. That's the value of the bullshit paper currency. All right, everybody. I think that's it. Have a good day. Questions, comments, www.teaserking.com. I'm glad the comments are working. I didn't see any comments, Bobby, Greg, or John, nobody. Nick wasn't on. I was getting nothing, and I'm going through the basketball, and I can't believe I'm not getting any basketball questions. And anyway, so we'll do that tomorrow. We've got our bracket. We've got our final 2, 4, 6, 8. We're at our final 16, down to our final 8, and then final 4 this weekend. It's like I say, I think Alabama, Tennessee, UCLA, and Houston. Based on the best defenses, Tennessee and Houston, Alabama's going to have a hard time beating Tennessee and Houston. Believe me. Right now they got the easiest path, playing Texas A&M, Maryland, San Diego State, and then the Creighton-Princeton winner. Yeah, tough road for Alabama. So keep that in mind too. Anyway, football soon. We'll look at trades. Although not big news until the draft, then I'll do some draft videos on that. And again, the quarterbacks basically suck. I say the best ones to get are Bennett from Georgia, my guy from Fresno State, Jake Haener, UCLA, Thompson Robinson, TCU, Hooker from Tennessee. Those are your top 5 quarterbacks. Getting the Ohio State quarterback or the Florida quarterback, those GMs will be looking for a job soon, because those teams, we're going with the running quarterback because we can see how many Super Bowls running quarterbacks win. 0. Well, so that must be a good play, because they're athletes. They can run. Oh, yeah, well, that's great. Okay. Nice coaching. Go look for a new job. Maybe you can work at Wendy's after you're done fucking up my NFL roster. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful day. I got the dentist at noon tomorrow as of now, so I probably will be on after that. Or I might go swimming because it's near the swim, so I might dentist swim and then do an afternoon show. Haven't decided. I like doing it now because then I go swim and then I eat and I get all that in. So we'll have to see. Anyway, that's where I'll be tomorrow, getting my teeth hopefully plugged up and off I go. And I got to watch my popcorn. It's those uncooked kernels. You got to be careful. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you. And thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it always. If you want me to talk to your dad or what you just tell him he's trading dollars for gold or silver. You're not spending a nickel, and if he needs the money back, he can go back to the coin place and get it. There is no risk, but there's huge reward. Where else can you find no risk and a huge reward but in gold and silver? So he's got to get out of money. Tell him that's the risk, is the money. I'll be happy to talk to him. You can send me an email go on the site. You'll get my email. I'll be happy to respond to him to settle him down, but he's got to do it. He's in big trouble keeping in money. And I'm running out of dollar, Bobby. I mean, soon this is just going to be the one. It will be what I'll show you. So before that happens, he better get out of it. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you. And www.teaserking.com. We'll do some basketball. All the Final Fours, the Final 16s on Thursday. I don't know this NIT bullshit, but anyway, we got that. And then football draft soon, so we will see. All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you.